हरिओम। जय उदराम। हांव कश्यप लीलाधर फुलिया, कचगाम राखणिया, हाले घनसोली। आज हांवें पूरे एंटायर बॉस इवेंट के होस्ट कर रही हैं। हांव बाय प्रोफेशन कंप्यूटर इंजीनियरिंग हैं अने आज पा एन एंटायर बॉस इवेंट में मेडिकल स्टूडेंट्स लागे गाइडेंस खणी आया हूँ। श्री कच्छी भानु सेली सेवा समाज ट्रस्ट रचित परम पूज्य संत श्री औदरम एजुकेशन फाउंडेशन जे अंतर्गत बॉस मतलब भानुशाली ओवरसीज सपोर्ट सिस्टम ही एड़ो इवेंट खणी आवे उन्हीं स्टूडेंट्स लागे जो मेडिसिन फील्ड में अब्रॉड स्टडीज अब्रॉड 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 कंट्रीज में करियर कैसे रीते बनाए सके उन लगे एंड टू एंड गाइडेंस स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम जे कॉलेज सिलेक्शन थी करीने एग्जाम्स प्रिपरेशन यूएसएमएलई जॉर्जियन जी जॉर्जियन अलग अलग कंट्रीज जो एनी जो एंट्रेंस एग्जाम्स लागे कैसे प्रिपेयर कर सके उन बजट्स ने पोए कॉलेज जे कोर्स सिलेबस ने इन लागे ओवरऑल कैसे रीते पाके प्रिपरेशन कराएं जी एंटायर गाइडेंस असि लोग इन इवेंट में देने वाला हैं। सो इन इवेंट स्टार्ट पा आज ऑर्डर में पई स्तुति थी गई।
श्री गुरुदेव धवराम तमने वारमवार प्रणाम। श्री गुरुदेव धवराम तमने वारमवार प्रणाम। तमने वारमवार प्रणाम प्रभु छो अंतरना आराम। तमने वारमवार प्रणाम प्रभु छो अंतरना आराम। श्री गुरुदेव ओधव राम तमने वारमवार प्रणाम। पावन नाम पवित्र तमारू अज्ञान तिमिर हरनारू। पावन नाम पवित्र तमारू अज्ञान तिमिर हरनारू। एक जेठरबानो छे ठाम तमने वारमवार प्रणाम। श्री गुरुदेव ओधव राम तमने वारमवार प्रणाम। सद्गुरु अद्भुत शक्ति तमारी निज महिमा केरी बलिहारी। सद्गुरु अद्भुत शक्ति तमारी निज महिमा केरी बलिहारी। कीधा परोपकारी काम तमने वारमवार प्रणाम। श्री गुरुदेव ओधव राम तमने वारमवार प्रणाम। घट घट ज्योत तमारी झलके तेज तमारो सगड़े छलके। घट घट ज्योत तमारी झलके तेज तमारो सगड़े छलके। गुरु छो स्वयं ज्योति सुख धाम तमने वारमवार प्रणाम। श्री गुरुदेव ओधव राम तमने वारमवार प्रणाम। छे आ एक अचलनी अरजी श्री गुरु पछी तमारी मरजी। छे आ एक अचलनी अरजी श्री गुरु पछी तमारी मरजी। आपो दर्शन पूरण काम तमने वारमवार प्रणाम। श्री गुरुदेव ओधव राम तमने वारमवार प्रणाम। तमने वारमवार प्रणाम प्रभु छो अंतरना आराम। तमने वारमवार प्रणाम प्रभु छो अंतरना आराम। श्री गुरुदेव ओधव राम तमने वारमवार प्रणाम। श्री गुरुदेव ओधव राम तमने वारमवार प्रणाम।
अज पाजे हिन सेशन जी शुरुआत पांजे औदर पे स्तुति थी है तेन त्या एतरो खुशियां अने एकदम एनर्जी अची वई आहे त हाणे पाण पंहिंजे पूरे एंटायर सेशन खे एकदम एनर्जी सां पाण खणी वञूं। पंहिंजा हाणे श्री कच्छी पाणीशाली सेवा समाज ट्रस्ट जा अने औदराम एजुकेशन फाउंडेशन जा पाया एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर श्री शैलेश जोई सर अॼु पाण वटि हेॾा आई अने पा उहो अॼु पाण खे थोरो सो गाइडेंस ॾींदा कि औदराम एजुकेशन फाउंडेशन कीअं वर्क करे थो अने बॉस जे अंदरि बॉस जे अंदरि कहिड़ी રીતે वर्क करे थो।
Audible?
यस
Can you
शैलेश भाई।
confirm? मुझे आवाज बरोबर अचे तो मणि के?
यस
Okay.
शैलेश भाई।
जय उदराम मणि के हरिओम। बॉस 9.0 जैन स्टडी अब्रॉड मेडिसिन जे स्पेशल एडिशन में मुझे स्वागत है। परम पूज्य शान श्री उदराम एजुकेशन फाउंडेशन एडे पाजी जो शॉर्ट में जो एजुकेशन टीम बॉस ने विविध हेड़ा एजुकेशन जा कार्यक्रम दर वरे करती रहती। The sole focus being कि पंहिंजा जेको स्टूडेंट्स ऐं जेको हायर स्टडीज़ लाइ वेंदा हैं या बेसिक स्टडीज़ लाइ वेंदा उन्हीं खे राइट गाइडेंस मिले, उन्हीं वटि राइट इंफॉर्मेशन हुए त हू जो उन्हीं जो जेको नेक्स्ट स्टेप आहे उन्हीं जो जेको फाइनल टारगेट है कि हिकिड़ी सारी अहिड़ी डिग्री मास्टर्स उन्हीं खे हथ में अचे उनमें उन्हीं खे मेहनत थोड़ी ओછી करणी खपे ने उन्हीं जी एनर्जी राइट चैनल जेको आहे उन्हीं जी स्टडीज़ मथे फोकस पए। એટલે ही मेरे इवेंट्स पाण ऑर्गेनाइजेशन करूं था जेतिरा स्टूडेंट्स है जॉइन कया आहियो ऐं मेरे आभार जा पात्र आहियो। थैंक यू फॉर जॉइनिंग एंड मेकिंग taking part in this event and making this event happen. इवेंट में पंहिंजा स्पीकर्स तव्हांखे गाइड करदा डिटेल में कि जेको टॉपिक है पंहिंजी पर ओवरऑल OEF केयर कश्यप से के औदराम एजुकेशन फाउंडेशन की हले तो श्री कच्छी पानुशाली सेवा समाज ट्रस्ट जेको पंहिंजी मातृ संस्था है OEF जी रचना कॉके वे ने हुनजे अंदर जेको प्रोग्राम हलेंदा पंहिंजा मणि के ख्याल जो हूंदो श्री कच्छी पानुशाली सेवा समाज ट्रस्ट इज नियरिंग 100 years 1929 में ही संस्था जी स्थापना थी हुई आइडिएशन थियो हो ने तैयार थी विविध अहिड़ा कार्यक्रम अलग अलग सेट थिया आहिनि। 1945 में एजुकेशन जो जेको फर्स्ट पायो हो એટલે पंहिंजा हॉस्टल जी शुरुआत थी वई। कोई 60s में स्कॉलरशिप जा बेसिक जेको मॉड्यूल्स पंहिंजा हेर पर हले वठा हू शुरुआत थी। कोई घणे बड़े चीजूं आयूं 1995 16 अप्रैल जो परम पूज्य श्री उदराम एजुकेशन फाउंडेशन की रचना करे में आई जंहिंमें वो मेजर पार्ट हुआ। वन वाज लाइक गिविंग फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट टू स्टूडेंट। तो फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट जो है वो पंहिंजो पहला मैनुअल फॉर्म्स से हलंदो हो एंड देन वी हैड 2013 में पाण पहलो पंहिंजो डिजिटाइज एप्लीकेशन चालू किया जंहिंमें OEF जो रिलेटेड जेको फॉर्म हुआ पंहिंजा ऑनलाइन मेथड ॾेखारंदा हुआ एंड हिन वरे पाण फर्स्ट में 2026 जो fully digitized platform चालू किया आहियूं। So any scholarship or any grant for education, right from first standard up to PhD and beyond, if someone is studying, there is something or the other in form of scholarship, फाइनेंशियल नीड हुए फैमिली के चैलेंजेस हुए तो उनला करे ग्रांट्स और सहाय शिक्षण सहाय चाहिए ने कोई प्राथमिक माध्यमिक ने उच्च केलवणी अड़ा पांच तरह डिफरेंट फंड्स हैं उन्हीं थ्रू फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट स्टूडेंट के करी सकूं था कि कंहिंजी भणतर पैसे टके रीते अटके ना। तो ही फुल एप्लीकेशन पंहिंजी है scholarship.bhanusamaj.org ते लाइव है एप्लीकेशन अचनि था ऐं वञा तो पूरी डिटेल आपके मिलती कि हाउ दिस थिंग वर्क्स। ट्रेनिंग वीडियोस हैं वीडियोस ने जो डॉक्यूमेंटेशन है तो उन ते समझी सकता कि व्हाट इज द प्रोसेस। तो दे डेफिनेटली इन नेरजा फॉरेन एजुकेशन ला करे पण जेको वने था उन्हीं के पण पा स्कॉलरशिप ॾियूं था। So definitely there is some support on finance but available over there. Second part जो हो which has always been what most of the students look for after financial is the guidance. Guidance के अंदर पावटे विविध कार्यक्रम है BOSS being one part and BOSS to 9th version है। There are multiple webinars happening this year because पावटे પહેલા વધારે કરીને સ્ટેમ ફિલ્ડ में ઓવરસીઝ એજ્યુકેશન લાવવા દાવા ફર્સ્ટ એન્જિનિયરિંગ हो ने कंप्यूटर साइंस में પણ વધારે ઘણી વંદાવા ને કોઈ મેડિસિન ના કરે વંદાવા which is like the topic Jim talked about, but then there are multiple fields also. Like he different segments के पाक cater करी सकूं. We can give the support system, just not in guidance, but university की select करे जी है कि university select when you are going to a particular state, town, in a foreign country, होते पांजा की connects मली बने तो I think the student is and the parents are basically relieved कि तो आए जो को student जो initially उनके hand holding કરીને कराए सके तो पांजा abroad program coordinator रही different countries में, and I think we are nearing to about 40 countries right now where there is an EPC available from Bhanushali community, and there are more members also who are also connected from different many communities जो कोई पाएगा box team touch. That entire support system is there. So guidance from the up, and there is a whole system. Understand the entire boss system. Boss मैंने के full form ख्याल ना हो तो boss saying the Bhanushali overseas support system. That's the full form. So you can understand from the name कि आखी चीज करो है. ही बॉस जो को सेट थियो हिकिड़ो आउटपुट आयो हो जेको पंहिंजो रेगुलर करियर गाइडेंस हले थो, विच इज़ ऑल्सो एन ऑनगोइंग प्रोग्राम फ्रॉम लास्ट 17 years, जंहिंमें पाण 8th 9th 10th 11th 12th major focus, but yeah, everything after 10th के how to select the stream and how to go about some questions which come up when you are selecting a particular career. The science, commerce, arts, science, but उनमें पण जेको multiple streams saying the modern day courses and what after 10th and what after 12th and even what after graduation ही questions का आंसर करूँ था हेर पंहिंजो जेको करियर गाइडेंस सेमिनार मार्च में चालू करी वरिता हुआ, and then there were two major parts. One was the aptitude test for 3 rounds है run किया ने, that is over on this last 1st May. But in the second part, which is the major attraction for many of them, we खबर त पई field he suggested exactly, but then who can guide me? Panja experts, and maybe with experts saying, and we have about 50 plus experts now. Bombay में ही event पर 24th May भानुशाली banquets है, तो भानुशाली बाड़ी घाट को पर खाते organize करने में आए हुए full day event है ने 17th May बिलीमोरा साउथ गुजरात जो को सेंट्रल पॉइंट थी बना तो बिलीमोरा इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में ही अरेंज करे में आए हुए. If you are not registered, तो बिलीमोरा जब अन्य लगा देखो फॉर्म साउथ गुजरात में फैले तो उन पे रजिस्टर कर जाए and make sure you attend the event. तो विविध एक्सपर्ट्स पावटे हैं, लगभग 20+ एक्सपर्ट्स होते अच्छे वाले हैं बॉम्बे थी लोकल्स एंड देयर एक्सटर्नल प्लस द बिलीमोरा इंटरनेशनल स्कूल्स जो को टीचर प्रोफेसर्स हैं ऊपर पाके गाइड करे वाले हैं. It's a full day event from morning 10 to evening 5. So on the guidance, when is you can have a question answered, you can understand the different aspects of the current big names like AI, cybersecurity, the big things which are going on right now. So on the discussion where you can have a one-to-one talk, there will be 2 or 3 hour window. हर एक expert के मली सकता will be one-to-one बात कर ला करे general question and answer बनाए. 24th May ला करे एक special program पण बॉम्बे ला announce हुआ है, which is still building up, but I like to take this opportunity and announce कर दो. If you have yourself or if you have any other siblings or in the family जो को 10th या 12th above है उन्हें लगा रहे 3 days से इवेंट अपलोड स्टार्ट किया है और फॉर्म थोड़ी पर में 5 सर्कुलेट करा हुआ आज काल में सर्कुलेशन चालू थी तो एंड इट्स a 3-day event. So 24th जो 5 इवेंट आए जी CGS show which is from 8th to 12th and above, but specific focus पर whenever I हूँ 12th मथेला करे where there are challenges even after selecting stream taking where there will be experts speeches. There are industrial visits, which is happening probably for the first time. We have a couple of industries where you can go and talk to that industry expert in the Neris about our industry. So that announcements will be made soon. We put 26th, so we have a good expert who will be guiding us like from the stage. An event you're register kaja, career guidance, I can say is like will be a 3 days event this year. जो रजिस्टर थे उन्होंने के इन्फॉर्मेशन डायरेक्ट बंदी, बट इफ यू आर नॉट रजिस्टर्ड मेक श्योर डू दैट. कोई घने बड़े बे इवेंट्स हैं, सो आई रन थ्रू इन शॉर्ट बिकॉज आई डोंट वांट टू यूज ऑफ द कोर टाइम. तो पार्ट प्रोत्साहन है फॉर पीपल हु आर लुकिंग फॉर जॉब एंड who are just about to complete their studies. Then we have UPSC preparation वाला जो प्रोग्राम है जाके पंचायत तो भानु एस भानुशाली एकेडमी फॉर कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम्स. तो वो अकड़े इवेंट चालू है. होप आई एम स्टिल ऑडिबल. कैन कंफर्म.
थोड़ा बस you can continue.
Okay,
Yes,
please
you are
interrupt
audible.
me.
Yes, you are
Breaking up.
audible.
Okay. So I'll just take another 2 minutes and close it. So भानुवेश पर अपना प्रोग्राम है जो ग्रेजुएशन करवाता है. Whenever you are doing a foreign study analysis, you always have multiple options. So do consider भानुवेश पन जो को पांजो on training program है जो intake चालू है for the 5th batch. भानुवेश basically prepares you for the Union Public Services Examination or Master Public State or Gujarat Public State Commission's examination. So this is also very good career opportunity. You need to give your a year and a half to 2 years at the minimum to get through this thing. But yeah, once you get through that exam, which OEF में सेवा समाज पूरी मेहनत करता पुठी साथे. There's a Delhi chapter also announced for that. So to consider that also if you want a plan B along with your overseas or medicine career. And there are n number of other programs, roughly about, to give it a number, there are 25 plus programs across the year which we run under OEF for guidance to the students. So more details can always be accessible from our website, bhanusamaj.org, which has something getting updated. So we'll see a lot more information coming up over there. Education team is always available. Seva Samaj, Jeepanji Patkupur officer, reach out Kari Shogata if you want any help and you are not able to get hold of anyone. I am always there if you want to reach out and want to talk about any of your career challenges or anything. You can always schedule some meeting or talk and come up. But don't get stuck because you are lacking information or if you are financially strained. You can find a solution. Seva Samaj can assist you in finding a solution. Make sure you put in your best efforts and definitely Seva Samaj with that, I close my speech. Thank you again, everyone who has joined this event and spread the word because there are many more who are not seeing the messages or thing and might have not seen this time. But yeah, recording the party so they can always look at it again. Hariom. Very glad. Best of over to you.
Thank you, Salish bhai. Anje pure wonderful insights lege payo OEF के वर्क कर दो और पायो entire सेवा समाज के contribute कर दो. now आओ invite किया तो नवा इन्वाइट किया तो डॉक्टर हरेश चांद्रा के जो पाया कमिटी मेंबर અહીં શ્રી કચ્છી ભાનુશાલી સેવા સમાજ ટ્રસ્ટ છે અને ભાનુ આરોગ્યમ સ્વાસ્થ્ય મંત્રી जो डेडिकेटली पंहिंजे कम दी पाम मरे के इंस्पायर किया था जो हेल्थ ने पब्लिक सेक्टर ने करे अलग अलग ठिकाने ते टाइम ॾेने कंट्रीब्यूट किया था.
हरिओम. मणि के जय हिंगलाज, जय ओदराव. Myself, એટલે હું ડોક્ટર હરેશ રામજી ચાંદ્રા, હેર પાંજે શ્રી કચ્છી ભાનુશાલી સેવા સમાજ ટ્રસ્ટ में आरोग्य मंत्री यहाँ પાંજી જોકો आरोग्य मंत्री तरीके અને હેર આરોગ્ય ક્ષેત્રે જોકો જોકો પાંજી એક્ટિવિટીઝ ચાલુ हुई है जो संक्षिप्त में એટલે ब्रीफ में आके खाली माहिती दे दिया. तो સૌથી પ્રથમ તો કચ્છી ભાનુશાલી સેવા સમાજ ટ્રસ્ટ અને એનજી જોકો भी एसोसिएट टीम से ही बॉस है ओईएफ है रिमणी के खूब खूब अभिनंदन. इस समय जी मांग हुई खास કરીને પાંજા વિદ્યાર્થી હણે ઇન્ડિયા અને અબ્રોડ મેડિસિન में બહુ જ પ્રગતિ કરી હતા અને ખાસ કરે અબ્રોડ નેલા કરે ઘણે લોકો કોઈ ઘણે બડે ડાઉટ્સ हुए કન્ફ્યુઝન हुए त ही બડે जी आज ક્લેરિટી અચી વેंदी. हिन सुंदर आयोजन बदल टीम के खूब खूब अभिनंदन. પાંજી ભાનુશાલી સેવા સમાજ जी आरोग्य जी टीम એટલે ભાनु समाज आरोग्यम इनकी रचना हैरज करे में आई है. एन बारे में અને હું જો ડેડિકેટેડ આરોગ્ય મંત્રી અહીંયા ડોક્ટર હરેશ રામજી ચાંદ્રા કઠેડી હિન આરોગ્ય ટીમ જે અંદર પા વિવિધ કાર્ય કર્યું था स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम अवेयरनेस टू प्रिवेंशन ट्रीटमेंट फॉलोअप અને विविध क्षेत्र में अलग अलग कैंप करे जा फॉर एग्जांपल मेमोग्राफी है पेप्समियर है ईसीजी है शुगर है लाइफस्टाइल डिसीज जे क्षेत्र में जोको जोको चीजों इन जो पा अलग अलग कैंप करे અને पांजी कम्युनिटी के की पा बेटर हेल्थ दी सको की इन्हीं के पा डिसीज में थी बचाए सको की सारी हेल्थ दी सको इन क्षेत्र पा कार्य करे रहा हूँ हेर पांचो जोको भानु समाज आरोग्यम क्लिनिक है ओडा हेर 36 एक्सपर्ट स्पेशलिस्ट અને સુપર સ્પેશિયાલિસ્ટ મેળે પેનપેનજી સેવા દઈ રહી અને મેળે બહુ ચેરિટી બેઝ સેવા દઈ રહી અને પાંજી સમગ્ર જ્ઞાતિ એનો સારો એવો લાભ ગણે હતી એકડો સમયો પાવટે ખાલી જનરલ ફિઝિશિયન હુંદાવા પાકે ફર્ધર એજ્યુકેશન જી અને સ્પેશિયાલિટી સુપર સ્પેશિયાલિટી જી ખબર ન હોય બહુ ઘણ્યા ગાંઠ્યા બહુ પંજણા પાંજી સમાજ में સુપર સ્પેશિયાલિસ્ટ हुआ आज समय एड़ो है कि पावटे 36 डॉक्टर ही है जो ऑन बोर्ड भानु समाज आरोग्य में 36 से 36 डॉक्टर ऑल आर स्पेशलिस्ट और सुपर स्पेशलिस्ट so we have now enough team of all the doctors पावटे कार्डियोलॉजिस्ट न्यूरोफिजिशियन कार्डियक सर्जन जनरल सर्जन गैस्ट्रोएंट्रोलॉजिस्ट साइकियाट्रिस्ट काउंसलर खपे तसे ऑर्थोपेडिक्स ऑप्थाल्मोलॉजिस्ट डर्मेटोलॉजिस्ट जनरल फिजिशियन एमडी फिजिशियन यू नेम इट वी हैव इट कैंसर सर्जन तो पावटे दरेक स्पेशलिटी या डॉक्टर रही उपाजी कम्युनिटी के गाइड करिए था एंड साथे साथे वी हैव टाई अप विथ डिफरेंट हॉस्पिटल्स जो को पाके बहुत सारे डिस्काउंट रेट ते पांचे समाज के मेंबर्स के सुविधा प्रोवाइड करे थी फैसिलिटीज देती एंड साथे पांजो पैथोलॉजी लैब साथे भी टाई अप है जेना पाके 50 to 70% डिस्काउंट नॉर्मल रूटीन टेस्ट से मिले तो इन सिवाय भानु समाज आरोग्यम जे दायरे में भी घणे बड़ी एक्टिविटी आई के जेटला भी पांजा नवा डॉक्टर्स अचे इन्हीं के फुल सपोर्ट फुल मोरल सपोर्ट અને ગાઈડન્સ પા પૂરો પાડી પૂરી કોશિશ કરી રહ્યો એના કરે પા મની ડોક્ટર્સ ડેટાબેઝ કલેક્ટ કર્યું था तो आज पांचे टीम साथे जो को भी डॉक्टर्स जोड़ाना है अथवा डॉक्टर्स पेरेंट्स जोड़ाना है इन्हीं की एक रिक्वेस्ट है कि अही आजो डिटेल्स भानुशाली समाज में हलायो आजा बच्चा अगर हाणे मेडिसिन में एडमिशन गिने था तो बाय डिफॉल्ट नाउ ही और सी इज अ डॉक्टर हिकिड़ी बार मेडिकल कॉलेज में एडमिशन करा એટલે डॉक्टर થઈ ગયા ન થયા તો 2-5 વાર में થઈ वेंदा અહીં जा डेटा दो पा डेटा कलेक्ट કર્યું અને ઈ પા મણી के पांजे ग्रुप में पांजी ज्ञाति में शेयर કર્યું तो मणी के कम अचे के फर्दर गाइडेंस खपदू है एज्युकेशन में अटकदू है यूजी करे करे અને पीजी ला करे के अटकदू है तो અહીં एन ग्रुप साथे कनेक्टेड हुंदा तो यू विल गेट प्रॉपर गाइडेंस we have doctors in all almost 10 to 15 countries abroad भी जो को एज अ प्रैक्टिशनर ओडा प्रैक्टिस करिए था and as a students भी घणे बड़े countries में and in India also we have almost 6 to 7 states में पांचा डॉक्टर सही यूजी भी करिए था पीजी भी करिए था इवन एकेडमिक्स में भी એટલે मेडिकल कॉलेज में पांचा एज अ प्रोफेसर भी पांचा डॉक्टर सही तो वो भी पाके सारो वड़ो गाइड करे सकता मनी स्टूडेंट्स અને पेरेंट्स के रिक्वेस्ट है कि स्टे यूनाइटेड स्टे कनेक्टेड અહીં પાછે સમાજ સાથે સમાજ એટલી સારી એક્ટિવિટી કરી રહ્યો હોય તો સમાજની દરેક પ્રવૃત્તિ में ભાગ લેનો અને કનેક્ટેડ રહ્યો યુનાઇટેડ भी રહ્યો અને કનેક્ટેડ भी રહ્યો એટલે કોઈ થીનો કે આંજો की भी प्रॉब्लम है सपोज कहीं इंडिया में भी एजुकेशन के था फॉरेन में एजुकेशन के था केड़ा की केड़ा फ्रॉड थियो केड़ा की मेडिकल कॉलेज में आके इश्यू आया केड़ा की नेग्लिजेंसी में इश्यू आयो मेडिको लीगल इश्यू आयो प्रैक्टिस में इश्यू आयो एजुकेशन में इश्यू आयो तो पाजी भानु समाज आरोग्यम टीम है ई बैकअप ला के ऑलवेज तैयार है जो को मोरल सपोर्ट दींदी गाइडेंस दींदी અને લીગલ સપોર્ટ ખપતો તો સે પણ દીંદી એન સિવાય બાકી की गाइडेंस खपदो एजुकेशन रिलेटेड तो से पण पा दई सकबो रिक्वेस्ट दरेक स्टूडेंट के एकड़ी जाए कि અહીં સમાજની દરેક એન્ટિટી સાથે કનેક્ટેડ રહ્યો અને સમાજની એક્ટિવિટીથી કન્સર્ન રહ્યો फॉरेन एजुकेशन थी जेको अमुक डाउट्स है ई पंहिंजे फर्दर जेको भी स्पीकर है ई लोग आके क्लियर करींदा कि ओड़ा थी पास आउट करे ने पोइ इंडिया में आके जेको ओड़ा एंट्रेंस एग्जाम आई पास करे जी जा डूस डोंट्स जा जेको भी ई आके मिड़े क्लियर करींदा भानु समाज आरोग्यम वती ऐं आखी टीम जो खूब खूब धन्यवाद करियां तो अने अभिनंदन दियां तो अने जेको भी आज हिन टीम में जोड़ाण आई अने फर्दर स्टडी करेला मंगे था एनी मणी विद्यार्थी के હું તરફથી બેસ્ટ વિશિસ બેસ્ટ ઓફ લક હરિઓમ ઓવર ટુ યુ
Yeah. Thank you, Harish bhai. सो पा अॼु पंहिंजे सेशन पाण स्टार्ट कयूं। अॼु पंहिंजे एंटायर वेबिनार में पाण वटि त्रै मेन स्पीकर्स आहिनि अने हिन जा पूरे एंटायर लाइनअप ॾियां थो। फर्स्ट पाण साथे विधि दामाई नेपाल थी जेको पाण खे नेपाल कंट्री जे रिलेटेड जेतिरा बि इनसाइट जो पंहिंजा शेयर कई था। सेकेंड पाण साथे खुशबू रणछोड़ गजराई जेको जॉर्जिया थी अने थर्ड पाण साथे डॉक्टर करण भानुशाली जेको यूएस थी जॉइन कई था। ही पाके त्रोय पंहिंजी पंहिंजी कंट्रीज़ जा अलॻि अलॻि इनसाइट्स जेको हुन पर्टिकुलर कंट्रीज़ भण लाइ करे मेडिसिन्स जा जेको बि पार्ट्स हूंदा उहो पंहिंजे एक्सपीरियंसिस शेयर कईंदा अने हुन लाइ करे कोर बेबी स्टेप्स आगे गिने आई अने धीरे धीरे वीज़ा प्रोसेस थी करे एग्जाम्स थी करे ने आके कहिड़ी कॉलेज सिलेक्ट करनी हुन पर्टिकुलर कंट्रीज़ में ही आगे एंटायर गाइडेंस हिन में आके शेयर कई था। सो वधा टाइम न कंदे ऐं अॼु पंहिंजे फर्स्ट स्पीकर खे विधि दामा खे इंट्रोड्यूस कयां थो जेको थर्ड ईयर MBBS स्टूडेंट थी काठमांडू मेडिकल कॉलेज थी नेपाल थी। सो यस विधि। Please, Vidhi, unmute yourself and switch on your camera.
Hello, Hariom. Am I audible, visible? Hello.
Yes,
यस
Vidhi.
ऑडिबल यस
Yes, Vidhi.
ऑडिबल
Yeah, sorry for the inconvenience. Hariom Medike, I'm Vidhi Damaya from Nepal થી ever અહીંયા અને અહીં હું ત્યાં ગામજી અહીંયા અને થેન્ક યુ કશ્યપ અને પેલા તો કોંગ્રેચ્યુલેશન્સ મેડિકે કે અહીં નીટ અપિયર કયા અને નો મેટર વોટ ધ રિઝલ્ટ ઇઝ યુ શુડ બી પ્રાઉડ કે અહીં એકડી ગજ ખાસી કોમ્પિટિટિવ વન ઓફ ધ બેસ્ટ કોમ્પિટિટિવ એક્ઝામ અહીં અપિયર કયાયો ધ રાઉન્ડ ઓફ પ્લોઝ ફોર યુ ઓલ અને આઉં લાઈક ફોર नेपाल आई एम गोना स्पीक કે नेपालમાં की एडमिशन गनी सगो અને કોર કોર્सेस અહીં ને કઈ તે તો આઉં શેર કયા હતી એકડી પીપીટી આ સાથે તાકી ઇટ વિલ બી કન્વીનિયન્ટ. Um, is the screen visible?
Yes, we can
Yes,
see the
Yeah.
Vidhi.
screen.
It's visible.
You can full size it.
Yeah. Um, okay. The Nepal में actually about 20 to 25 colleges हैं जो NMC registered हैं. The NMC registered colleges में like Indian students are getting approval. MBBS अनि जी valid चोवाजे जो NMC registered college थी MBBS graduate कयो हुए. The मेडे the colleges are उनमें नए add करी सके but these are some of the colleges અને નીજા લાઈક એડમિશન પ્રોસેસ અને મળે it is in two different ways. તો હેડા એક પ્રાઇવેટ કોલેજીસ પણ અહીં ને ગવર્મેન્ટ કોલેજીસ પણ અહીં જે ઇન્ડિયન સિટીઝન્સ કે એડમિશન ડીએ થયું. તો આઉં जिन कॉलेज में અહીંયા से प्राइवेट कॉलेज है અને I have also a friend which is in government college, so I have knowledge for both of the colleges and I'll share it to you. The total duration in Nepal जो है it is 5.5 years. तो इनमें 4.5 years academic studies वे અને 1 year internship वे. इंटर्नशिप इज कंपलसरी इन नेपाल અને इंडिया में अगर आके MBBS પોઠિયા વેલિડેટ થીનો હોય તો આકે કોઈ પણ કન્ટ્રી में इंटर्नशिप કરીને અચનું ખપે તો ही पढ़ा हिकिड़ो पॉइंट અને इंग्लिश मीडियम में मेरे कंडक्टेड वे कोर्स बट कोला करे एड़ा पेशेंट इंटरेक्शन कोला करे पंहिंजी फील्ड इज लाइक कि वी हैव टू इंटरेक्ट विद पेशेंट्स ठीक है तो वी कैन नॉट एक्सेप्ट के पावटे हमेशा लिटरेट पेशेंट अची था तो हेड़ा जे कॉमन लैंग्वेज है से नेपाली है तो पाके नेपाली जे बारे में थोड़ी आइडिया हुनी खपे ताकि पा उनी साथे फ्लुएंटली इंटरेक्ट करी सको ड्यूरिंग आवर क्लिनिकल एक्सपोजर ड्यूरिंग आवर इंटर्नशिप अने नॉलेज पर पाके खासो मिले અને ઇટ ઇઝ નોટ દેટ ડિફિકલ્ટ મતલબ ઇટ ઇઝ વેરી સિમિલર ટુ હિન્દી અને ગુજરાતી then the what is the eligibility criteria for Indian students the पहला तो नीट क्वालिफिकेशन होनो खपे कोई 12th PCB में मिनिमम 50% अचनो खपे which is combined PCB percentage અને age which is 17 years અને ફી સ્ટ્રક્ચર અગર પા સોચું તો ફી સ્ટ્રક્ચર ઇટ ઇઝ લાઈક ધીસ કે કાઠમાંડુ મેડિકલ કોલેજ में इट इज 54 to 55 lakh फॉर द होल कोर्स ठीक है ये मेरे फॉर द होल कोर्स ही फॉर द स्पैन ऑफ 5.5 years मेडी कॉलेजेस जी फीस जी डिपॉजिट थे जी क्राइटेरिया अलग अलग वे फॉर माय कॉलेज इट वाज कि मुके 3 इंस्टॉलमेंट्स में फी डिपॉजिट करे जी वई ने बाकी मड़ी में ईयरली पड़वे ने अमुक में 3 वे 4 वे डिपेंड्स ऑन द कॉलेज दीज आर द गुड कॉलेजेस इनमें अना हिकिड़ी कॉलेज है महाराजगंज कॉलेज विच इज गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज अने इट इज लाइक कि हेडा जी एम्स कॉलेज चो आहे बिकॉज इट इज गवर्नमेंट इट हैज मतलब हॉस्टल फीस ओછી आहे અને ક્લિનિકલ એક્સપોઝર જે જો आहे નહીં મળે एक्स्ट्रा एक्सपेंसेस पंहिंजो केतिरो वञे त अप्रोक्सीमेटली दिस आर दी चार्जिस के ही मंथली एक्सपेंसेस वञी सघे हॉस्टल अने फूड मिलाईने मिसलेनियस जेकी पण वैसे मिलाईने एंड ऑल्सो के कॾहिं कॾहिं पाके कॾहिं कॾहिं मतलब કે जॾहिं पाके एग्ज़ाम ॾिने जी वई त हिडन चार्जिस में ही जे फीस आहे पंहिंजी जे अकेडमिक फीस आहे विच दैट डज़ नॉट इंक्लूड हिडन फीस विच इज़ लाइक कि पाके एग्ज़ाम ॾिने जी आहे त उनजी एप्लीकेशन जी फीस अलॻि वे फॉर डिफरेंट कॉलेजेस डिफरेंट फीस वे अगरि पाके कंपार्ट लॻी वियो पेपर बैक लॻी वियो त हुन पेपर जी अलॻि फीस वे त अगरि पंहिंजो बजट आहे त इट विल ऑलमोस्ट टच 75 to 80 lakhs for the whole entire course. the Indian students के नेपाल कोला प्रेफर करे जो the Indian અને नेपाल करिकुलम आहे से ऑलमोस्ट सिमिलर आहे અને लैंग्वेज बैरियर पण आहे અને नीट एक्सेप्टेड एडमिशन आहे प्लस NMC अप्रूव्ड कॉलेजेस અહીં અને સિમિલર કલ્ચર અને ફૂડ હેબિટેટ आहे લાઈક ધીસ ઇઝ અ હિન્દુ કન્ટ્રી જડા લાઈક गच में पंहिंजी कल्चरल सिमिलैरिटीज़ ऐं त होॾा पापा के जजो लैक न थिए प्लस क्लाइमेट कंडीशन इज़ वेरी सूदिंग लाइक इट इज़ मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम कोल्ड अने हेतिरो पर कोल्ड न के स्नो पड़े तो बट इट इज़ अ कोल्ड काम कोल्ड वारो कोल्ड ट्रावेल पर इजी થઈ વને અને ગુડ ક્લિનિકલ એક્સપોઝર અને પ્રેક્ટિકલ લર્નિંગ है गुड क्लिनिकल एक्सपोजर અને પ્રેક્ટિકલ લર્નિંગ આ રીતે કોલા ચાહતી કે मुंहिंजा અમુક फ्रेंड्स है इंडियन प्राइवेट कॉलेजेस में जे ऑलमोस्ट 1 CR સુધી पे कई था बट उन्हीं जे हॉस्पिटल में पेशेंट्स ज नथा अचे तो हाउ विल दे लर्न पंहिंजे हिन में त पंहिंजे फील्ड में हिते आहे कि જ્યાં સુધી પા જજા एक्सपोजर न करदासीं पेशेंट थी ત્યાં સુધી પાકે नॉलेज नहीं अचे we cannot just mug up with books we need patients real life patients to study त એટલા करे प्राइवेट कॉलेजेस थी कंपेयर कयूं कि अगर पा होॾा पैसा विझूं था त हेॾा पा कोला विझी सघो दिस इज़ अ प्रो અને ક્લિનિકલ પ્રેક્ટિસ હેડા અને ઇન્ડિયામાં ગત સિમિલર है તો લાઈક ડિઝીઝીસ ડિઝીઝીસ કોમન हुनियूं प्रैक्टिस सिमिलर आहे हेॾा डमीज़ नथा वेन कैडेवर ते पाके प्रैक्टिस कराई था फर्स्ट 2 year स्टार्टिंग में अनाटमी तो दैट इज ऑल्सो अ प्लस पॉइंट અને देर इज नो लैंग्वेज बैरियर तो अगर आके नेपाली सीखे में या प्रॉब्लम थी थी तो हिंदी में पर बात करदा तो पीपल विल एक्सेप्ट ने करिकुलम वाइज अगर हम नेला वना तो दिस इज द करिकुलम फर्स्ट ईयर में लाइक हेडा जो करिकुलम है एकेडमिक्स इट फॉलोज द यूएसएमली वारो पैटर्न इट इज लाइक बेसिक साइंस एंड क्लिनिकल बेसिक साइंस इज फॉर फर्स्ट 2 years एंड क्लिनिकल्स इज फॉर नेक्स्ट 3 years तो इनमें इंडिया में वी हैव ओनली फर्स्ट ईयर में 3 subjects अनाट फिजियो अने बायोकेम बट हेडा पाके मड़े सब्जेक्ट्स हैं ने इट विल बी सिस्टम वाइज स्टडीज जाने के अगर आऊं कार्डियोवैस्कुलर सिस्टम बढ़ाती तो मुके कार्डियोवैस्कुलर सिस्टम जो मड़े अनाटमी बायोकेमिस्ट्री फिजियो पैथो माइक्रो फार्मा वन गो में मड़े करे जो है विच इज आई नो टीडियस बट आई थिंक के मुके ही गच हिकिड़ो प्लस पॉइंट लॻो की कोला करे इंडिया में फर्स्ट ईयर में 3 subject कयो ऐं वाची घड़ी अनाटमी करो आहे अने पोइ आउं सेकेंड ईयर पहुचदे पहुचदे भुली वईसे कि यार अनाटमी में ही आर्टरी केॾा थी वई ते ही केॾा वई ते ने पोइ मूंखे पैथो सम्झे ला करे गच डिफिकल्ट थिए थो भला करे सेकेंड ईयर में मुंहिंजो पैथो मेजर सब्जेक्ट आहे अने मूंखे उन लाइ करे अनाटमी अचणी खपे या फिर आउं फिजियो भुली वईसि अने आउं कोई खे दवा नथी लिखी सघां कि इनखे हार्ट अटैक अचे थो मूंखे त हार्ट अटैक जो कोर वो फिजियोलॉजी इहो यादि नथो अचे तव्हां हुनखे दवा कोन लिखंदीसे त सेम अहिड़े त मूंखे लॻे कि अगरि पाण सिस्टम वाइज़ कयूं था त ही ईज़ी वे थो कि मूंखे मेरे सब्जेक्ट्स वन गो में कवर अप थिए था सेकेंड पॉइंट ये है थर्ड ईयर थी मूंखे क्लिनिकल एक्सपोजर मिले थो clinical exposure what I mean by it is ke I go to posting, I take history, I'll interact with patient, I will learn how doctors interact with patients, I will get to know कि किन बीमारी में कई थे ट्रीटमेंट के डॉक्टर्स प्रोसीड कइए था बाय बीइंग देयर बाय लर्निंग विद द डॉक्टर्स फोर्थ ईयर में सेम अलग अलग सब्जेक्ट्स हैं थर्ड ईयर and fourth year it is like similar to इंडियन सब्जेक्ट्स અને ફિફ્થ યર में इंटर्नशिप અને ॿियो आऊं प्रोज अने कॉन्स अगरि चवां त प्रोज आऊं आके चई सघे कि इज़ी ट्रैवल आहे गुड पेशेंट फ्लो आहे बेस्ट क्लिनिकल एक्सपोजर आहे कंपेयर टू इंडियन प्राइवेट कॉलेजेस सेफ्टी फॉर वुमेन आहे कि हेॾा दिस इज़ वेरी लाइक सेफेस्ट प्लेस फॉर वुमेन अने गवर्नमेंट कॉलेजेस में अगर एडमिशन करनी हुए तो वी हैव अनदर एग्जाम जो हेॾा जी एंट्रेंस एग्जाम आहे तो हू ॾेई सघूं अने गवर्नमेंट कॉलेजेस आर बेटर देन प्राइवेट कॉलेजेस ऑफ कोर्स हर जगह ते तो अगर आके नेपाल जे गवर्नमेंट कॉलेजेस में एडमिशन करनो है तो नवंबर या सितंबर नवंबर में देयर विल बी एन एग्जाम फॉर गवर्नमेंट कॉलेजेस अगर અહીં वो अपीयर करियो तो एॾा कुछ लिमिटेड सीट्स है फॉर फॉरेनर्स गवर्नमेंट कॉलेजेस में इट इज़ लाइक कडाक 5 सीट्स में कडाक 8 सीट्स में तो हू कम्पीट कला करे ऐं हू एग्ज़ाम ॾियो न हू करी सघो बट गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज हेॾा जे महाराजगंज कॉलेज आहे विच आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट तो उनजी फीस आहे $7,500 टू ऑलमोस्ट $8,000 तो इनजी वजह से थोड़ो एक्सपेंसिव आहे मुंहिंजे कॉलेज थी बट सिमिलर थी वञे कोला करे मुंहिंजे कॉलेज में हिडन चार्जेस जजाई यानी गवर्नमेंट कॉलेजेस में ही मेरे गेनी गेडोनो ने पोइ उनके एग्जाम फीस विल बी लाइक ₹100 या ₹200 अने मुंहिंजे कॉलेज में एग्जाम फीस विल बी 27,000 अने 30,000 फॉर पेपर्स त ही डिफरेंस आहे अने कॉन्स अगर आउं चवां कि कॉन्स करो ऐं त इट विल बी के एॾा नॉन वेजिटेरियन डाइट गच फॉलो थिए थी त हिकिड़ो त रेड फ्लैग ही आहे अने नेक्स्ट आहे कि कड़क कड़क मतलब इट इज लाइक कि अगर पाण इंडियन आहियूं ने पाण ॿिए कंट्री में विया आहियूं त ऑब्वियसली विल फेस सम पार्शियलिटीज त until and unless you are doing good in your academics I don't think it will be a problem but अगर आजो academics थोड़ो सो एवरेज आहे the teachers might think કે અહીં એડા પૈસા ઉડાયેલા આયા આયો या અહીં ध्यान नता ड्यो तो वो आके इंडियन नेपाली कर दा बट दिस इज टोटली अप टू यू कि अगर અહીં academics ते फोकस्ड आयो आंजा मार्क्स खासा अचे जा आंजी अटेंडेंस बरोबर आहे आंजी कोई टीचर थी बहस न तो यू आर गुड टू गो कोई ॿियो कौन ही आहे कि हिडन फीस आई थिंक कोला करे हिडन फीस में कॾहिं कोरो किन रजिस्ट्रेशन जे नाम ते केतिरा पैसा गिनी गिनी थोरो नेगेटिव आहे अने बस आई थिंक दैट्स ऑल थैंक यू
Thank you, Vidhi, for your insight for the entire Nepal guidance. How students can approach Nepal and कैसे better option हमको नेपाल में मिल सकता है if we are not going for India. So तो ये entire guidance मुझे कहती श्योर जो को जिन students के नेपाल consider करना है उन्हीं के कच सारो help कर दो. So thank you so much. सो पंहिंजे नेक्स्ट स्पीकर खे इंट्रोड्यूस कयां थो खुशबू रणछोड़ गजरा जेको 6th ईयर MBBS स्टूडेंट हुई जॉर्जियन नेशनल यूनिवर्सिटी SU इन टिब्लिसी ही पाके एंड जॉर्जिया में पाके अगर रशिया जॉर्जिया इन कंट्रीज में पाके अगर एक्सप्लोर करो MBBS लाइ करे त हिनजी एंटायर गाइडेंस पाके अॼु शेयर कई था सो या खुशबू
Hello, am I visible?
यस खुशबू वेलकम
Hello, Hariom Medike. I am Khushbu Ranchor Gajra from Butta, Hale, Mumbai. But I'm studying studying in Georgia, and I'm a 6th year medical student. So I have started my journey in 2020, and it was from Ukraine. But due to the war, I had to take transfer, and I chose Georgia. And what was my mindset at that time while choosing Georgia is what I'm going to share with you today. My insights about Georgia and why I segregated it from other countries and chose Georgia. So let me share a PPT with you guys. Is it visible?
Not
Hello.
yet. Not yet, Khushbu. Now. It is now.
Okay.
यस खुशबू
Okay, so let me tell you about like Georgia. तो जॉर्जिया में आज कॉस्ट जो एजुकेशन जो कॉस्ट हो रहा है क्वालिटी ऑफ एजुकेशन कहिड़ी आहे क्लिनिकल एक्सपोजर कहिड़ो मिले थो अने what are the steps that we have to follow after graduating from Georgia. So let's discuss about that. तो जॉर्जिया में एडमिशन ला करे एज पर्टिकुलर कोई एंट्रेंस एग्जाम ना है एज लाइक विधि मेंशनड कि नेपाल में अगर पाके गवर्नमेंट कॉलेजेस में एडमिशन खपे तो विल हैव टू अप्लाई फॉर एन एग्जाम एंड उनजे वजह थी सीट्स ते पाके एडमिशन मिल दो so that criteria is not followed in any countries like Russia, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan or Georgia. Hada only thing that is needed is that you should be NEET qualified and your marks in PCB should be more than 50% and your age should be more than 17 years. And this is the only criteria that is needed to take admission in these countries. And most of the programs like available in these countries, MBBS भी पूरो English में हूंदो, so there is no कि हनी जी language पाके fluently सिखनी खपदी, so that is a good thing. And now जो को नवो rule आयो है कि अदर कंट्रीज में लाइक हाणे पहले अहिड़ो हो कि जब MBBS करींदा हुआ रशिया या जॉर्जिया वग़ैरह में व्हेन वी गो बैक पाके FMG करने हिकिड़ी एग्जाम हूंदी हुई क्लिनिकल एग्जाम उ पाके क्रैक करनी खपदी हुई फॉर द लाइसेंस ऑफ इंडिया बट नाउ दिस इज चेंज्ड फॉर यू गाइज आज जी अचे वारी बैच ला करे ने हाणे नेक्स्ट एग्जाम आई है दैट इज अ प्लस पॉइंट बिकॉज जो को हाणे इंडिया में MBBS करींदा उन्हीं के भी ही एग्जाम ॾियणी खपदी टू गेट द लाइसेंस इन इंडिया as well as आके भी ये एग्जाम देनी खपदी so definitely it's going to be at a high level but इट्स अ गुड रिलीफ कि आ लोगों के खाली एकड़ो प्रेशर न मिलतो दैट यू हैव स्टडीड फ्रॉम आउटसाइड एंड आके एकड़ी एग्जाम क्लियर करनी खपदी। ड्यूरेशन भी एकड़ो चीज आहे हिन कोर्स ला करे जेको डिफरेंट आहे लाइक कि हडा कोर्स जेको ड्यूरेशन आहे 6 years हडा आहे अने प्लस 1 year ऑफ इंटर्नशिप यू हैव टू डू इन इंडिया। तो पूरो आ जो MBBS जो जेको कोर्स आहे न ई 7 years जो थी वेंदो। अने मनी गिनो कि अगर आज नेक्स्ट एग्जाम के क्रैक कला करे 6 months जो अना भी गैप खणो था टू स्टडी या फिर फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट में वो न निकरई तो यू हैव टू थिंक अबाउट इट कि आज जो पूरो MBBS हूंदो ना से 8 years थी 7 years में कंप्लीट थींदो। सो दिस इज अ वेरी लॉन्ग जर्नी एंड यू हैव टू बी श्योर अबाउट इट कि आके ऐं हिकिड़ो टाइम सुधी ऐं पढ़ाई करे सघंदा। यू विल हैव टू बी वेरी मेंटली स्ट्रॉन्ग अबाउट इट कि आके 8 years और 7 years लॉन्ग पूरो हिकिड़ो कोर्स करणो आहे। एज कंपेयर टू इंडिया, इंडिया में ही चीज 5.5 years में थी वेंदी। दैट इज अ वेरी बिग पॉइंट फॉर इंडिया। Then, if we talk about the cost in Georgia, nowadays Georgia has become very popular, and most of the students are preferring Georgia rather than going to Russia, Uzbekistan, and everything due to the geopolitical situation going around the world. So, because of the high demand ना ही लोग है ना पंहिंजा प्राइजेस इंक्रीज करे वधो ने लाइक लास्ट टू लास्ट ईयर काफी जो डेली लाइफस्टाइल हुई ना दे काफी मतलब लाइक अफोर्डेबल हुई, चीप हुई, बट नाउ डेज इट हैज इंक्रीज्ड टू मच। तो अगर पाण कॉस्ट नेला करे वञूं ना तो ट्यूशन फीस पहले 4,000 हुई, पर $4,500 थी पर ईयर जी। नाउ इट हैज टच्ड $6,000 एंड आई थिंक इन कमिंग ईयर्स इट इज गोइंग टू गो टू $7,000 to $800। So for that also you have to be prepared। अने हॉस्टल हडापुर ऐं मेरे जितली भी कॉलेजेस है ना से मेरे हिकड़े ठिकाने हैं लाइक जॉर्जिया में इन तिबलिसी जॉर्जिया जो कैपिटल है। अने इन कैपिटल में 15 to 20 मेडिकल कॉलेजेस हैं डिफरेंट डिफरेंट। तो क्राउड भी हेड़ा गच है, स्टूडेंट्स भी गच हैं, ऑलमोस्ट 20,000 स्टूडेंट्स लिव इन तिबलिसी हियर। एंड अगर अलग कंट्रीज में नेरला वनू डिफरेंट कंट्रीज लाइक रशिया और उज़्बेकिस्तान ई मेड़े ओडा को रहे गवर्नमेंट कॉलेजेस आहिनि, गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज आहिनि त पोइ हर हिकिड़े स्टेट में हिकिड़ी पर्टिकुलर गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज है एंड ओनली 200 to 300 स्टूडेंट्स आर स्टडिंग इन दैट यूनिवर्सिटी। बट हडा को रहे हर हिकिड़ी यूनिवर्सिटी में एटलीस्ट 5,000 इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स आहिनि फ्रॉम फर्स्ट ईयर टू लेके 6th year। एंड दैट इज वाई this is like kind of it has become like highly demanded thing आहे એટલે एक्सपेंस भी वधी विया आहिनि। सो ओवरऑल आ जो एक्सपेंस जेको हूंदो न से पूरो $10,000 सुधी वेंदो विच इज ऑलमोस्ट लाइक 9 to 10 lakhs विच इज इंक्लूडिंग द ट्यूशन फीस एंड अपार्टमेंट्स। हडा है न हॉस्टल वारो सिस्टम ना आहे जहिड़ो रशिया वगैरह में आहे, क्योंकि कैंपसेस के साथ हॉस्टल अटैच ना आहे। मेरे प्राइवेट कॉलेजेस आहिनि सो दे आर जस्ट द कॉलेजेस एंड स्टेइंग ऑप्शंस आके पिंडे चूज़ करणो खपे, पिंडे लझणो खपे, डिसाइड करणो खपे वॉट एवर यू नीड। तो उन लाइ करे एक्सपेंसिस $300 मंथली गिनो। सो दिस इज लाइक क्वाइट एक्सपेंसिव। अगर पाण नेरला वञूं त पंहिंजो पूरो ख़र्चो 60 to 65 lakhs थींदो, प्लस पंहिंजा मिसलेनियस खर्चा ना पा मथे पकड़े ने हलूं न तो बि ऐं मनी ने हलो कि 70 to 80 lakhs। तो 70 lakhs ऐं अगर एवरेज पकड़े ने हलो 70 lakhs में आज जॉर्जिया में पूरी MBBS कंप्लीट थींदी विद ऑल द कॉस्ट। अने ॿियो हिकिड़ो अहिड़ो आहे कि देर आर लॉट ऑफ एजेंट्स जो अॼु आके चवंदा कि आके जॉर्जिया में MBBS करणो है 35 lakhs जो पैकेज है, 40 lakhs जो पैकेज है, रशिया में MBBS करणो है इट इज 25 lakhs जो पैकेज। ही मने हिकिड़ो स्कैम है। तो इन चीज ते भजी ने रोजा बिकॉज वेन यू ब्रेक डाउन ऑल द कॉस्ट एंड रियलिस्टिकली ही मने चीजूं करींदा न द कॉस्ट विल बिकम टू मच। ताईं स्टार्टिंग में अगर यू हैव डिसाइडेड यू पे टू दैट कंसल्टेंसी 20 to 30 lakhs अने पोइ हू मड़े हिडन चार्जेस चवंदो ने मड़े चवंदो द एक्सपेंसिस विल इंक्रीज। तो ही मड़े चीजूं यू विल हैव टू लाइक रिसर्च अबाउट एंड देन चूज। अगर हम कंपेयर कयां थी जॉर्जिया के वाई आई चोज जॉर्जिया, वाई आई फेल्ट इट वॉज बेटर देन अदर कंट्रीज। सो फर्स्ट थिंग वॉज की फैसिलिटीज बिकॉज ही प्राइवेट कॉलेजेस आहिनि न सो दे हैव वेरी मॉडर्न इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर आहे। अने हिन वटि आहे न लैब्स आहिनि जेको एकदम प्रॉपर सिमुलेशन वारा आहिनि। देर आर लाइक डमीज़ जेको प्रॉपर लाइक हाईटेक टेक्नोलॉजी वाला आहिनि। यू विल गेट अ फील कि ऐं पेशेंट खे ट्रीट कयो था बिकॉज हडा जो मड़ी की बिगेस्ट ड्रॉबैक को रहे कि हडा के पेशेंट एक्सपोजर ना आहे लाइक आऊं ब्लंटली चाहती कि बिल्कुल ना आहे। माण्हू चवंदा कि 20% आहे 30% आहे बट आऊं चाहती ना आहे बिकॉज जॉर्जिया में पेशेंट इंटरेक्शन करला करे आके पूरी फ्लुएंट जॉर्जियन अचणी खपे अने देर इज नो चांस कि इवन इन लाइक आई एम इन 6th ईयर एंड आई डोंट इवन स्पीक फ्लुएंट जॉर्जियन ताकि वो नायज अचे वारी बिकॉज यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू फोकस ऑन दैट लैंग्वेज दैट मच because you have a lot on your plate to study, to manage your life and everything alone here. So patient exposure ना हो but what do you need when you don't have a patient exposure? You will need कि at least आज जितनी भी clinical practice थी that is good, that is in like simulation centers या फिर at least you have a doctors who speak good English जो आके आज आ patient history ने मेरे properly guide करे सके समझाए सके rotations से कोठे बने सके. But this, I think this all things lack in countries like Russia, Uzbekistan because they are older and they don't have a proper infrastructure. And that is why I think Georgia is better. These other countries are definitely cheaper than Georgia. But if the budget is not problem, then I think other than these countries, we should prefer Georgia. Other thing that differentiate is like the weather. The weather in Georgia is quite good. आके कदे भी मतलब बोरो like harsh winter ने एडो मडे feel ना करनु खब्दो which I have heard from my fellow friends who are in Russia, Uzbekistan की the weather is very bad. ने कोकी वो like बोरो isolate एकड़ो थई वने the student gets isolated because of the crowd भी ऊंची है students ओछाई and because of the student ओछाई the midi the biggest point is facilities. हडा तिबलिसी में ऑलमोस्ट 20,000 इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स हैं दैट इज वाई ये लोग और कयों ने के खबर है कि स्टूडेंट्स वधारे हैं तो ऑफ कोर्स देयर माइट बी लाइक एमर्जिंग बिजनेस अपॉर्चुनिटीज जो इन स्टूडेंट्स के हेल्प भी कहीं और बिजनेस वाले के भी हेल्प कहीं सो यू नो देर आर लॉट ऑफ इंडियन स्टोर्स जहाँ पे प्रॉपर इंडियन ग्रोसरीज अवेलेबल इंडियन रेस्टोरेंट्स आर देयर इंडियन मेस सर्विस इज देयर एंड ही मडे चीजों है ना उन कंट्रीज में लैक करी थी बिकॉज ओडा एटलो हेडा मडे स्टूडेंट्स ज नहीं जो कि एनी मडी के वो मडे अफोर्डेबली हु डई सके बट हेडा बिकॉज ऑफ लॉट ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स ना ये मडे चीजों बोरी अफोर्डेबल है इजीली टू गेट है and this availability makes the lifestyle very easier. So this was my like differentiation like factor because that makes a Georgia better place from others from my opinion. But of course it depends on the budget and everything. There are a lot of universities in Tbilisi here અને હર સાલ हिकड़ी बो नवी नवी यूनिवर्सिटी खोले वठियूं बट यू हैव टू चूज कि जो भी यूनिवर्सिटी ओल्डर हुए ना उनके जाई प्रेफर कयो बिकॉज उनमें पाके खबर हुए कि हाउ द कोर्स इज गोइंग टू रन व्हाट विल बी द क्लिनिकल सिनेरियोज इन दैट यूनिवर्सिटी नवी यूनिवर्सिटी केयर भी चूज ना करे जी बिकॉज वी डोंट नो देयर पैटर्न हमेशा वो यूनिवर्सिटी चूज करे जी जिनमें थी एटलीस्ट 3 to 4 batches already passed out and is settled in. So these are the few universities. Hekdi the Mujiz University है first SU Georgian National University. MGB करीबन fees is like $6,000 per year. वो एकड़ी DTMU University है, New Vision है, European University है, CIU है. अने हिकिड़ी BAU इंटरनेशनल यूनिवर्सिटी है जो कि बातूनी में है हाणे ही भी हिकिड़ो ख़ासो पॉइंट है जॉर्जिया में ॿियो मिड़िया ने एकदम गामड़ो टाइप्स है देर इज नथिंग इन जॉर्जिया एक्सेप्ट 2 cities हिकिड़ी ही तिबलिसी जॾहिं हेॾा मेड़े मेडिकल कॉलेजेस ऐं पूरो डेवलप्ड है लाइक एक्सट्रीमली डेवलप्ड जस्ट लाइक मुंबई अने हिकिड़ो आहे बातूनी जेको प्रॉपर टूरिस्ट प्लेस है ही हिकिड़ो कोस्टल एरिया आहे जेको जॉर्जिया में आहे सो इट इज़ लाइक अ बीच साइड गुड टूरिस्टी एरिया त होॾा मोस्टली टूरिज़म आहे पण होॾा ॿ मेडिकल कॉलेजेस खोलेलियूं आहिनि ख़ाली हिकिड़ी जेको SU थी अफिलिएटेड आहे अने हिकिड़ी बाउ इंटरनेशनल यूनिवर्सिटी हेनी यूनिवर्सिटी में को रहे होॾा है ना फीस ऊंची है लाइक जो SU जी फीस है ना होॾा वारे बातूनी जी दैट इज ऑलमोस्ट अराउंड 4,500 अने सेम SU जी फीस हॾा $6,000 है तो होॾा डिफरेंस को लाइ बिकॉज होॾा जा भी ड्रॉबैक आहिनि हिकिड़ो तो टूरिस्टी एरिया है त अवेलेबिलिटी मेरे चीज़ें जी बोरी कम थी वञे प्लस प्राइसिस है ना होॾा एक्सपेंस जेको जेको डेली एक्सपेंसिस आहिनि उहो डिपेंड करे सीज़न्स ते अने इट इज़ एन कोस्टल एरिया तो ओड़ा हार्श रेनी सीजन आए बोरी अने अगर समर है तो इट इज़ वेरी हार्श अने बिकॉज खाली बोज यूनिवर्सिटीज ही होड़ा ना तो अगेन एज आई सेड कि अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ द गुड्स आज डेली लाइफस्टाइल में आके कोर कोर चीजों खपनियूं उनजी अवेलेबिलिटी भी बोरी मैटर करे थी टू लाइक यू नो बहुत मतलब मस्त रीते आज पूरा 6 years बने एंड यू आर लाइक कंफर्टेबल एंड एवरीथिंग तो ई चीज होड़ा बातूनी में मिस करे थी बट अगर जो बजट ओछो आए तो यू कैन डेफिनेटली प्रेफर दैट एज वेल ॿियो आई जस्ट से कि हाणे आहे न एनएमसी जा गाइडलाइंस आहे न एवरी ईयर चेंज थिए वेठा। लाइक फॉर मुंहिंजे बैच 1 ईयर जी इंटर्नशिप करे जी आहे, मुंहिंजे पुठियां मतिलबु मूंखे पहिला जेको ग्रेजुएट करियो उनखे 2 ईयर्स जी इंटर्नशिप करे जी आहे हुई। सो जेको एनएमसी आहे न उहो हर 6 मंथ्स में पंहिंजो चेंज करींदी, हर 1 ईयर में पंहिंजा डिसीजन्स चेंज करींदी। सो दैट इज़ अ नेगेटिव पॉइंट, छोकी वंस यू स्टार्ट द कोर्स हाणे आला करे कोरे असां लाइ कहिड़ो हो कि वी यूज टू लाइक अगर असांखे कॉलेज नथी गमे, अगर असांखे एरिया नथो गमे, इफ वी आर नॉट लाइकिंग इट वी वर अलाउड टू टेक ट्रांसफर टू अदर कंट्री एज वेल एज अदर यूनिवर्सिटी। बट ही चीज आला करे ना आहे, वंस यू चूज अ यूनिवर्सिटी आखिर 6 ईयर्स हुन यूनिवर्सिटी में कंप्लीट करे जाए द फर्स्ट रूल बाय एनएमसी। અને ઇન કેસ યુ આર ફેલ્ડ ઓર યુ ટેક અ ટ્રાન્સફર તાકે પૂરો કોર્સ ફર્स्ट ईयर થી સ્ટાર્ટ કરનો ખપતો। તો દેટ ઇઝ વેરી બિગ ડ્રોબેક, તો ઉ બી અહીં આજે માઇન્ડ में रखजा। Second, any university you choose should be WHO and NMC recognized. अगर ये recognized न होंगी तो after 6 years आज डिग्री की भी valid न होंगी। So you'll have to think about that as well। अने हेनी जी जो को लिंक आए जो को कि कई कई यूनिवर्सिटी रजिस्टर्ड है कई ना है उनजी हेड़ा मेरे लिंक्स अपलोड करें या अने एलिजिबिलिटी एफएमजीज ला करे जो को रूल है वो भी अपलोड करें या हेड़ा लिंक। तो प्लीज गो एंड like read it yourself so you get a better idea about it। लाइसेंसिंग एग्जाम्स जी अगर पाण ॻाल्हि कयूं तो एज़ आई सेड हाणे नेक्स्ट आहे आला करे बि इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स खे बि नेक्स्ट ॾिने जी आहे। पण देर आर मेनी अदर ऑप्शंस ऑल्सो विच आर लाइक यूएसए। अगर आके यूएसएमएलई ॾिनी आहे, इफ यू वांट टू डू रेसिडेंसी इन यूएस देन यू हैव अ यूएसएमएलई एग्जाम जो 3 पार्ट्स में थिए थी, यूएसएमएलई 1, 2 and 3। एंड हिन जो जेको पार्ट 1 अने पार्ट 2 है ना यू कैन गिव अलॉन्ग विद योर कोर्स ऑफ एमबीबीएस। तो अगर इन पार्ट 1 અને પાર્ટ 2 विदिन दिस ड्यूरेशन ऑफ 6 years अगर इन क्रैक करे होता ना so once you get your degree you can directly apply for USMLE 3 and within a year you will get your residency। So this is a good pathway if someone wants to like settle in US and settle in abroad। But definitely these exams are very stricter, they demand a lot of dedication from you। And there are many other pathways like PLAB 1, PLAB 2, and these are for UK। And many other countries have now emerged like AMCBI for Australia, Dubai ला करे भी एग्जाम आए। So there are many opportunities, many route। बट अगर किन के वापस अची करे इंडिया करनो है तो डेफिनेटली थिंक अबाउट नेक्स्ट, बिकॉज नेक्स्ट भी हाणे बहुत टफ हूंदी, बिकॉज इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स भी ॾिने वारा आहिनि अने फॉरेन स्टूडेंट्स भी ॾिने वारा आहिनि। So this was my like thing about Georgia। Tips and conclusion में खाली एटलो चवंदी कि विच एवर कंट्री यू चूज हमेशा उनजी प्रोज उनजा कॉन्स मिड़े कंपेयर करी जा, काम माइंड थी या जो बजट बनाई जा ट्यूशन जो प्लस लिविंग जो। जस्ट डोंट थिंक मतलब लाइक डोंट बिलीव एनी एजेंट और एनी वन हु सेज कि इतने में हो जाएगा कि हिटले में थई वेंदो। डोंट बिलीव दैट, जस्ट डू योर ओन रिसर्च and focus on the licensing exams from early time। Because once you go to a foreign country you have your free will, you have your free independent life। there is nobody जो आके टोकिंग दो कि ही कर हु कर ही कर। तो अगर यहाँ जी लाइफस्टाइल आ जो टाइम की मैनेज न करींदा ना यू विल गेट डिस्ट्रैक्टेड इजीली। बट आज जो मेन गोल अगर ये रखदा कि आके एग्जाम्स क्लियर करनी हुई देन यू आर गोइंग टू डेफिनेटली बी सक्सेसफुल इन लाइफ। and always connect with your seniors या anybody when you have a doubt। And you can text me or anybody from the boss group if you still have any doubt। This is my email ID। And thank you so much। Hari Om। Yes,
Thank you
that's
so
all।
much, Khushbu, for giving an amazing course breakthrough for the study abroad for Georgia। स्टूडेंट्स के डेफिनेटली प्रॉपर इंसाइट मिली होंगी इन ये थॉट प्रोसेस में प्रॉपर वैल्यू एड थी होंगी कि पाके कहिड़ी प्रिपरेशन स्टार्ट करनी है जॉर्जिया लाइ करे अने एंटायर एग्ज़ाम ने जो करिकुलम जेको तो शेयर कयो अने ऑफ कोर्स पाण पंहिंजी लाइफ जो पिंड मास्टर ने तो पाके पंहिंजी लाइफ पिंडे डिज़ाइन करी है अने ही चीज़ मड़े स्टूडेंट्स के हायर अवसर के समझ में आई है। सो थैंक यू सो मच
thank you
फॉर योर
so much।
इनसाइट्स। सो हांव पांच अॼु जे पंहिंजे फाइनल स्पीकर हुन खे इंट्रोड्यूस कयां थो। डॉक्टर करण भानुशाली। ही हिकिड़ा चीफ कार्डियोलॉजिस्ट फेलो फेलो आहिनि। He's a chief cardiologist fellow at SUNY Downstate Medical Center in New York. He's currently in his final year of training. He's a board certified in internal medicine, having completed his residency at Roger Williams Medical Center in Rhode Island. So we welcome Karan.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. Hello, can मुझे आवाज अच्छा है तो can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
Karan.
loud and clear.
Okay, good. खबर ना मुझे I have some issues with my camera. I can try one more time maybe. Uh, I don't know. Something seems to be wrong with my camera here. But anyways, good morning. Basically, I know we have a mix of audience here today. अमुक चुको students हैं, they are trying to get in MBBS. Some people are already in MBBS. And some people are maybe towards the later stage of their MBBS. But आओ मुझे थोड़ो career जो background लोगों के चाहते हो, like where I stand right now in terms of my career. So after finishing MBBS, I came here and I finished my training as a resident in medicine for 3 years. And right now, and eventually, I went for a fellowship in cardiology, which is total another 3 years, and I'm currently about to finish my second year, and I have one more year to go. So overall, I'm in my 11th, 12th year of training. Uh, but yeah, just the process of USMLE, I'll start off with that. Um, so Anju USMLE, I think the speaker before me, Khushi, she brought that up. कि I जो को है USMLE is something that you can start thinking of when you are in somewhere in your medical school. એટલે આંખે જરૂરી ના है कि you have to finish your training and then you can think about USMLE and start applying for the process. But broadly speaking, USMLE જ્યારે અહીં start करींदा, I think the right time to, if at all you consider their path, the right time to think about it is I would say maybe second, third year of MBBS training, where you have some decent understanding of the basics of medicine. I think that would be an appropriate time. तो आज ये exam process जो को आए, and right now I'm strictly speaking about the exams. I'm not talking about getting into residency because that's a completely different topic. But आज USMLE जी exam जी preparation जो को आए, उनमें typically what happens is I step one जो को डींदा, that covers mostly fundamental topics, USMLE jo, and that you can take from India. You don't have to come all the way to USA to take that exam. Who exam I complete Karinda, back in the days when I was preparing, it used to be a scoring system for step one, two. Just give me 1 second. Organizers Inc. I think they're trying to help me with my camera. Give me 1 second.
Yes, Karan. What you can do for your video is you can just go into your video settings and you can just look for rotate option. When you rotate it, it will be automatically fix your entire camera screen.
Yes, Gaurang, I think it's working now. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, this is better. Yes. At least मुझे भी लगे तो I'm not talking to a blank screen. I have some people around me. So, yeah, I was talking about the USMLE exams. The back when I was preparing USMLE, step one जो को exam हो, it used to be a real score. It was never a pass-fail exam. Now they've changed it, maybe for the last 2 years. USMLE step one exam has become just a pass-fail, which probably works against a lot of immigrant doctors. Because what this was one of the way to participate and show that you are good enough to get into this residency. But Koro they took one equation out of your application, meaning यहाँ जो एकड़ो score हुंदो वो is completely gone. So now a lot of pressure comes to step two exam. Step two exam pretty much has remained the same. Step two exam थोड़ी advanced exam हुआ है after step one, which again you can still take it from India. You don't have to come here all the way to take your step two. Step two back when I was preparing for USMLE, step two जो को आया, it used to be a two-part exam. Step two CK, step two CS. CK is what we still have continued. CS जो को exam COVID पर discontinue થઈ हुई है. को लगी step two CS ला करें, you had to come to the US. અને આજે હું એકડી mock exam હોય, meaning they give you a lot of patients, maybe 10 15 patients. They are real dummy patients, but they are real human beings with real problems. They are trained in a way, so આકે they are trying to gauge કે આ American culture, American patients સાથે deal કરે શકો તાકે ના. But that exam has been discontinued since the time of COVID. It has been replaced by a simpler exam, um, English, spoken English kind of an exam. I don't know much about the exam, but that's what now people take. But it made life very much easier. You sit in front of a computer and take that exam. And step three. So, in order to finish, take step three, you have to have finished your MBBS, and you have to have your license to be eligible to take a step three exam. So overall, Aji exams jo go hai, this is the pattern. Back in when I was applying for residency, you could get away without taking step three. Kola ki आवट step one hundo, you have a score. Step two CK hundo, you have another score to show your caliber. Step two CS was a very tough exam back then, which again has been completely eliminated. But again, if you did well on those three exams, it used to be pretty good, a solid application. But kuro hai ki after discontinuation of step 2 CS, step 1 becoming a pass fail exam, there are less and less things nowadays to highlight how good you are. And on top of that, basically step 3 becomes in a way a mandatory exam before you apply for residency. Technically there is no compulsion you have to take a step 3 exam before residency. You could technically take step 3 even while as a resident. But things have changed. So Anji exams jara complete kareo USMLE, and not step 3 but the other ones, you become eligible for an ECFMG certificate. Basically, ECFMG certificate means that you have met all the prerequisites to apply for a match. એટલે I match, these are some terms where are very specific for America. A match એટલે I જો go આય, this is a process where hospitals and you participate. અને જેડા અહીં પણ જો ઇનપુટ ડીંદા, હોસ્પિટલ્સ પણ જો ઇનપુટ ડીંદી after a long interview process. અને you and hospital, you guys meet at some point who I match. The match meaning it's the selection process, and once you match you start residency. એટલે match term जो meaning ही है, that this is they don't call it merit or selection, but match. And I'll go over that in a little more detail later. But this is how आजो जो को एग्जाम्स जो एकड़ो ओवरऑल जो को आइडिया है. And while you prepare for these exams, आवटे घणे मडे resources हुए. Back when I was preparing Kaplan, हिकड़ो resource हुंदो वो. There are multiple question banks you can work with. USMLE World, I think Indian amuk coaching centers in dams, and they also have the USMLE specific curriculum. You can check that out અને આખી થોડુંક idea અચીંદી. But overall, when you are in the shoes of a medical student, an MBBS third year, fourth year, fifth year, you have to know USMLE में, and the basic fundamental difference between USMLE and India. Ainjar India में you prepare for these exams, NEET, next, things have changed. But आके you will somewhat know that what specialty you want to get in. But you get a score and then you can apply. But USMLE में करो है कि you have to know what you want to do beforehand, and you will prepare your application in such a way when you apply. Meaning आज ही step exams चालू हैं, even then you have to know कि हाँ medicine में apply करे वाला हूँ यहाँ, or I'm going to be applying for pediatrics, whatever. You have to know beforehand. Holaki koro hai कि exams is one part of your preparation, but you also have to work around a lot on your application when you apply. And what are the other things that you have to focus on besides exam? One of that is medical rotations. Meaning koro hai कि you have to come to the US before, as a student, before you graduate or after MBBS. And you have to work here in some hospitals, hospital settings, clinic settings. There are different ways you can work here. And aake there, you have to work with American physicians. आके हेडा जा अमुक letter of recommendations खपे, and when you come here you meet people, and those letters are very important while you apply in America. Letter of recommendations, at least in the world of medicine, they hold a lot of importance. So Akhil, you need at least four letter of recommendations when you come here, meaning you have to make it simple, you have to at least work for 4 months while you come here, and on top of that you have to also start to work around some research. And I also did my MBBS in India, and research does not really exist in India, and curriculum. And we are not really trained around these things at all. But when you come here, I just rotation karela acho, you have to start to get some opportunities. It may be a simple medical interesting case that you present in a conference. कि आई कोई अमुक स्टडीज हुए पे इंटरेस्टिंग ग्रुप ऑफ पेशेंट्स ऑब्जर्व करो. I won't go into the specifics of that, but you have to also have these things on your application. Nobody wants just a student with good scores in their hospitals, because scores don't eat patients. એટલે આકે જો કો આए, आगे overall you have to be very holistic in your application. And you आज ही timeline कैडी हुआ है कि USMLE, like that you apply around August September. By then everything should be ready, including your scores, ECFMG certification, letters, your CV, research CV, and on top of that you also need to get a very solid personal statement. અને he અહીં cumulatively અહીં apply કર્યો around September, that time of the year. And then you have the interview season, which will last up to like February. Typically January, February में last में interviews conduct ही हैं. And then you apply for the match, and then in March you match. This is the typical timeline for residency. And if you think about it, like कि I अगर सोचला बना कि you kind of understand it's very counterintuitive कि जो application, if you don't know beforehand, how are you going to work with the right group of doctors? How are you going to get the right letters? You cannot have one letter from a surgeon and another letter from a pediatrician. You have to know beforehand what you want. If you are applying for medicine, then you have to work with doctors who are in medicine, or the specialities around medicine. So ही एक typical timeline है for USMLE. Typically आके interview process, and even when you're applying, the programs would expect you to know why did you apply here, what are your expectations from this training, why do you think you're a suitable candidate for this place, because America में not every hospital is the same. Some hospitals are very clinical heavy, એટલે બહુ patient load हुआ है. Some hospitals are very big in research. You may be a person who's interested, you may be a person who's not interested. So you have to find the right kind of fit for yourself. And typically you apply very broadly, you apply most of the places, but you have to know which places you like beforehand. Why are you applying there? Give them a good reason why they should take you. Competition is cutthroat, I will not deny. Medicine residency programs हुए हैं जिनमें typically they have a decent mid-tier size residency programs may have between 15 to 20 spots. And they typically interview 4 to 5 candidates per spot. And they receive around, I would say, good 1,500 applications. So a residency program size of 15 will receive 100 times the number of positions that they have to offer. Imagine the competition is extremely tough, cutthroat. So again, agar for example you have like a hospital A, आगे खबर है, you like this hospital. While you're applying, come here, try to get an opportunity to rotate, to work with someone here, get a letter of recommendation from here. When you're applying, bring that up. क्या यहाँ डाउन rotation क्यों है? I like this place. This is why I want to come here. They will remember you and they will consider you. Once you match in March, then you apply for the visa before you start your residency. Every medical training in USA starts on 1st of July. એટલે એડા standard है. Residency training, fellowship training, new jobs, medicine में mostly everybody starts on 1st of July. So जो March में जो ये complete થઈ વેના है, and then you start somewhere in July. Residency duration, I think India में, if I'm not mistaken, it's very standard. Most of the residencies are third year, I think, India mein. But Heda Koro residency duration may vary from 3 to 7 years. Medicine, pediatrics, I think these are and a few more. They're 3 years. But if you are somebody who is interested in a surgical specialty, it could be around 5 years to some of them are even 7 years. And he has a timeline. And in terms of visa, when you apply, most of the people who come here on for residency, I J1 visa te acha. There is another option. You can come here on H1B and also do your training. Some programs may or may not sponsor H1B, but J1 is a very accepted visa for training. And a J1 visa, just to give you some insight, J1 visa typically aake NG duration between somewhere between 1 to 7 years you have validity. Meaning, आके जो को भी training गिननी है, you have to try to finish that in 7 years. They may grant you another year, maybe 8 years, but nothing beyond that. So, like for example, a medicine residency karela aaya, you finish in 3 years. That's the expectation. Like 3 years jo course hai, you finish in 3 years, and once you finish that, your J1 is done. And a J1 visa jo amuk clauses hai, meaning it's a to procure a J1 visa, you have to, and mein amuk steps hai, government of India is involved to a certain extent, and I'll explain you why. So when you apply for a J1 visa, you need to get a letter from the Ministry of Health, statement of need. It says, when you're going to come back to India once you finish your training, you signed a bond for XYZ amount of money, and you give it to the US government. US government will let you work, assuming that you will go back to India once you finish. But of course, not a lot of people go back. Sorry. But in case if you decide not to leave, if you decide to leave, you cannot come back to the US for 3 years. That's the clause for J1. But in case if you decide not to leave, आके J1 waiver job गिनू पे, meaning it's a job. There's nothing different about it. But J1 waiver jobs are certain positions located in some specific geography in the US. जेटा अमुक underserved population है, rural population है, they expect you to work there. So again, Indian and US government which may, it's a clause that the candidate will go back to India. That is what India has signed the statement of need, and America says fine, if you don't want to go, do a waiver job, which is typically around 3 years, and once you finish that, there is no waiver business anymore. So he and what you have to keep this in mind. अगर आई J1 visa te आया हो, once you finish medicine, the last day of your training, your J1 is done. So you cannot reapply for J1. You have to have a plan after that. Either you are going to take a job or you have already secured another position for another training in medicine. So everything and everything needs to be ready beforehand. Another thing I want to bring up is J1 visa. By the way, जो को आए, you cannot keep reapplying. એટલે અહીં सोचा क्या हूँ 3 years training गेड़ी. I may feel like I want to work for 1 or 2 years, make some money, and then I'll apply for another fellowship. Doesn't work for J1 visa. Once you're done with J1, you're done with J1. You cannot keep reapplying for J1. So you have to keep that in mind. Um, and by in your residency, again, the story repeats. You have to know beforehand what you want to do. कि आके you want more training in the future or you want to take a job. If you decide to take a job, then you start looking up for jobs second year, third year in your training. But if you want to get more training, you have to go through the same cycle. You have to apply for the match again. These are fellowship match. Fellowship એટલે, I think in Indian term, uh, super specialization. So you have to know beforehand. Again, first year in your residency, you're working very hard. You are the youngest doctor in the building. But second year you have to know, okay, I want to probably take a job, so I should start looking for jobs. I'm interested in maybe a kidney specialization. I want to start thinking about that. I'm interested in cardiology. I need to start thinking about that. So again, same story repeats itself. You have to start getting letters again, apply, good statement of need, whole 9 yards, and And once you fellowship match cycle is slightly different. Yeah, it's December. It's a short cycle, like July to December, unlike residency November to March. But once you have secured a spot, then you continue another training, another fellowship training for 3 years, which I am doing right now. I'm about to finish my cardiology, but I even for me at this stage, I have to have a plan after this. Okay, next, what do I want to do? Do I want to take a job after this, or do I want more training? Training in the USA never stops, but long story short, you have to know beforehand what you want to do. And Aji, and in your residency, typically, I'll strictly speak about medicine. को कि हर रेजिडेंसी जो करिकुलम वर्क पैटर्न वर्क फ्लो एक्सपेक्टेशंस वो अलग हुए हैं बट मेडिसिन रेजिडेंसी um it is pretty tough like three years I training में हुआ first year is I think probably very challenging like you are new to the system I American culture थी adapt थींदा हुआ working hours I think in the US there is a legal working hour cap of 80 hours a week but you will work beyond that very easily um, in your at least in your first year. Some hospitals may or may not have 24-hour shifts. A lot of hospitals have taken away 24-hour shifts, at least in residency. Um, but yeah, first year it is busy. Second year onwards, things start to get more easier. But again, you start to take more responsibility. Ko like senior thinda banada. So there is more autonomy, more seniority. By a lot of people like in by the second year, if they've decided to take a job, they already start looking for jobs in second year. After medicine, I mentioned about fellowship as one options. Jobs after medicine are also a lot of, I think I would say more than half the people take jobs. And typically as a medicine doctor, job beda ke there are two different ways you can work. Hikdo I hospital setting and a clinic setting. I clinic में એટલે आजी private practice हुआ है and hospital setting में you work as a hospitalist. Hospitalist, I think a lot of people choose to take a job as a hospitalist because of great work-life balance. Hospitalist जो typical जो workflow हुआ है, they have a very amazing lifestyle. એટલે hospitalist America में most of the places they don't expect you to do night shifts. And you work for 1 week, you're off for 1 week. You work for 1 week, you're off. So you have a 1 week on, 1 week off schedule for the whole year. Again, the working weeks are very busy, but a lot of people like this, and eventually they start to do 2 weeks at a time, take 2 weeks off, and in those free 2 weeks they start their own private practice. So there are different things to do. Do not do a fellowship just because you think you will make more money, because I personally think medicine is not the right field to make money, anyways. But you bottom line is you have to know your likes, dislikes. Okay, you have to prove why you should be chosen. And in fellowship, things get even more cutthroat. I think I was spoke to Gaurang about this the other day. Okay, fellowship may the number of spots even come down. Like typically, fellowship may her program may like for example, if you're applying for maybe cardiology, like my hospital, we have 6 spots each year. That's it, and if we receive maybe close to 600 something applications, and we have to pick the right person. It is a very challenging process. You know, when I was in the shoes of MBBS, third year, fourth year, I used to think this is all about exams, this whole journey. But I think the exams is maybe what, like 20% of the process. But be realistic, work hard, and start making the right connections. Be passionate, prove why you should be chosen. There are lots of things you can do before even coming to the USA. I volunteer work career. These kind of things will definitely showcase that what kind of a person you are. Show your personality through your deeds. And I think um, and I think rotations jarada karla cho, be the first person to come to the hospital, last person to leave. Work extremely hard and prove yourself. And I think anything else, Gorang, let me see if I was supposed to talk about anything else. Uh, Let me find out. Yes. I'm happy to take any questions. कोई की questions हुए हैं, more than happy. So I think there's a question from Bhumi.
Yes, we have multiple questions. Uh, um, Kashyap, I would request that all of the speakers,
Hmm.
actually, I would request all the speakers to switch on the camera, Khushbu and Vidhi, and then we'll go to the question and answer session. And all the audience feel free to ask questions. We have different uh, speakers from different journeys, right? From Vidhi, Khushbu, and Karan, different phases of the journey. મનીજા decisions અલગ વા કેડા ભણેલા વ્યા અહીં કેડા ભણેતા અને future में. And I'm sure even Vidhi, Khushbu are learning from what Karan is also saying, and what each other is saying. So I think it's good that we have different speakers at different journeys. And for other people, other participants, everywhere from 11th standard, 12th, NEET, already MBBS, right? Take full benefit of the current speakers. Panje Natja Jai. Uh, Not everyone gets a chance to speak. Karan was also speaking earlier. Etlo guidance milnu difficult hai. So we want to encourage you to ask questions. So we have some questions that we'll start off with, and any
Yes,
of you based on
Gaurav,
it, you can take it.
I'm
Yeah.
just conveying the questions to the speakers and they can answer them one by one.
Hmm.
Uh, so first question we are like Bhumi have put forward. Can these exams be attempted multiple times or there's just one pass or fail attempt? Also, is there a time limit like part two to be attempted within a year or part of one? Also, what is best MBBS for in the coming years to appear for according to the speakers? I guess Karan, you can answer this question.
Yes, I can take this question. Thanks. Uh, so I think attempts wise, if I'm not mistaken, you can take them more than once. But the problem is, I think as a transcripts it will show if you have taken more than one attempt, and it's a big red flag. You have to try to not only pass these exams in once, but also try to get a good score. Kolaki, sometimes you can fail, but that gives you an opportunity to reapply. But if you don't get a good score, that will stay with you. And I again I think I mentioned कि मुझे time this step one was never a pass fail business. There was no there was also a CS exam. USMLE step two was two parts: CK, which is the current step two, and CS. You have to come to USA back then, take a 9 hour whatever long exam, see 15 patients in every room, and also type computer notes. So it was very challenging back then. But who exam is gone. Even that exam, some people used to fail, and it was a red flag too. But now I think the step one exam, I'm not 100% sure. Okay, since it's a pass fail, you can take as many times as you want. But I will definitely say for step two exam, if you fail, it will show up on your transcripts for sure. And I don't think there is a real solid timeline कि आके step one and step two like you have to like take it within a year. I think I don't think that is really a requirement. અને બીજી વાત ही કે um, you have to time these exams in a way कि आके apply care करी like for example if you are thinking of applying for the match, say for example 2020, let's talk about 2027 match. Okay, अगर 2027 मैच में पार्टिसिपेट करना हुआ है, you have to have these exams ready by now. You have to have your scores, ECFMG certificate, everything takes time. So you have to gauge कि आके किन cycle में apply करना हुआ है. So you have to time accordingly. Um, and I think like I said, step three now there is no way you can apply without a step three exam. Um, Especially for immigrant doctors and then what year of MBBS. I think step one exam aji second year MBBS boy you start to have understanding of basic concept of medicine. That I think is a good time second year, once you have a solid understanding. Second year onwards you can start preparing for first part of USMLE exam.
Yeah, I guess Bhumi's Katera's question is answered properly by Karan. There is one more question from Bhumi Bhanushali. How many marks do we require to get into private colleges? Like, what is the proper marks they are expecting in private colleges? I guess Vididama, you can answer this question.
So for private colleges, it is like you just need to qualify the NEET. For any colleges, actually, it is easier if you pass. It is easier to get admission in government colleges if you qualify your Nepal entrance exam. But even if you have qualified your NEET marks and you have 50% of PCB marks, then you are eligible for both private and both government colleges.
जेई सेम थिंग जॉर्जिया में कैसा है? Like how Georgian private universities expect marks, like how much marks from the entrance exams?
So it's actually the same thing. They don't care about what marks have you got in NEET. It's just like the NEET should be qualified, and that is also important in a factor that you have to go back to India and you have to practice, like practice as a doctor in India, because that's the criteria for NMC, that if you are not eligible in NEET, then you won't get license in India. That is why this is an eligibility criteria. Otherwise, in many countries, there are students who don't even qualify NEET and go get admissions in private colleges. But it will be a major drawback once you go back to India and you have to practice in India. Then at that point of time, your degree won't be valid and you won't get license if the NEET is not qualified. So you just need an qualification mark. Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay.
We have one more question from Priyan Bhanushali. She is also a doctor. What are other ways to get residency in US, UK apart from USMLE and PLAB? Karan?
I'm not 100% sure about the UK. In USA, I think besides USMLE, I don't know about any solid path to get in a residency, but I know about there are some pathways ke India mein if you have already done your post graduation, there are certain things you can come here, but I don't know if these pathways will ever allow you to have a full practicing license in the USA. These are all very gray zones, but the best and the most secured pathways to take the whole USMLE residency route. I know a lot of people here, India mein gynecologist he who they've done everything, and then they come here and do residency all the way from scratch. But I think that's what most of the people do. But there are certain, I think, radiology में अमुक एक loopholes हैं. But I don't know again कि आके full independent करे license मिले, you become a board certified doctor here के you always have to work with someone. But I'm not 100% sure, but I would say if you're considering, try to do it the right way.
Yeah. We have one more question from Nidhi Bhadra. She want to pursue medicine and cardiac surgery. She mentioned like she has a Singapore citizen, but she is living in India. She has given ICAT and CAT exam for Australian and Singapore university, and she want guidance and suggestion for university for choosing university which are SMC recognition.
Does she mean SMC? What is that? Singapore medicine?
She has mentioned SME recognized.
SMC. Is it SMC or Khushbu or anyone? Is it NMC usually?
For
The
India, it's
Singapore Medical
NMC
Council.
usually.
Uh,
NMC is for India.
Okay. Singapore Medical Council. Okay. So basically, Nidhi wants to practice back in Singapore, technically. I don't know. Any of you know anything about Singapore Medical Council and what's eligible or not?
Unfortunately, no, not me.
You know. So Nidhi, what we'll do is, if since they cannot answer, कहीं ऐसी try करीबो कि सिंगापुर में अगर कोई आए, one of our APCs or someone that can probably help you with that question. Yeah, we'll try that. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Yeah. Kashyap, please go ahead.
So, are there any differences in practicing medicine in India and US?
He मुझे question वो. You know, uh, what is the difference basically? That was I was always curious. Uh, Studying and getting licensed in India is shorter always, or at least compared to my colleagues and everyone I see, compared to the US, right? They study a lot for longer term, and of course, in the US, it's more learning. They have to keep learning. What is also the key difference practice करे में between India and the US?
I think USA में I think again I think part of American culture आ जाए कि Gaurang, you've been here for quite some time now. कि every job rotates around trying to at least aim for a good work-life balance. And same kind of holds true for medicine too. Uh, Again, when you're in these years of training, you work extremely hard. Like now, after so many years being in training, मुझे अमुक weekends off मिलेला लगाएं. But my wife, she's is in her third year of a residency, and she doesn't get too many weekends off even now. Until last year, I was working maybe 90 weekends a year. So, okay, जो को है eventually work-life balance gets better as you grow. India में I think doctors जो को हैं they and again medicine is a full-time job. એટલે once you leave your hospital doesn't mean you can stop thinking about your patients. Okay, you have to make yourself available if needed. But I think USMA in general there is a decent work-life balance. Um, and the other thing is I think reimbursement wise I think in India doctors make decent money too. Especially people who are in private practice and things like that. America may, in a way, you have to be on top of your paperwork. Hida, it's a big thing about how you document things. There is a, you're always worried about getting sued. It's a medical legal thing is a big thing. A lot of time you would be surprised the amount of time you spend in your admin work in medicine, maybe 3 4 hours a week at least. So that is something हेडा जो in a good and a bad way like standard of care maintain रहे but it's a lot of extra work. India में I think that part is more liberal એટલે અહીં એટલો आज documentation here somebody can just find what you wrote in their chart like 5 years ago and they would find a fault and try to sue you. That is something हेडा America में practice करेला करने your paperwork has to be extremely solid. Your documentation has to be to the point. Um, and one benefit I feel maybe I feel it because I work in the hospital setting, but eventually America may be issue here though is that you don't ever talk about finances with your patients. You and your there is between money does not stand between you and your patients in the hospital setting. Um, Meaning the primary payer for the hospital is never the patient, it's their insurance company. So, आके patients आते you never have to discuss money with them, which I think is a good benefit. But eventually, if you're somebody who's in private practice, that problem comes because a lot of times you want to offer XYZ procedure to the patient, but the primary payer is not the patient, it's the insurance company, and they keep denying things. So you have to spend a lot of admin time, talk to the insurance company, explain why you are offering, or explain why this patient needs what you're offering to the patient. So that is a lot of extra work. But bottom line is that you treat all patients equally. मुझे hospital में I never know what is the financial background of that person. He'll get the same kind of treatment as any other guy. So I think as a America में these things are very nice, and secondly, you always want to try to find answers to so many questions. Le- you start to develop a research mindset, things that we don't know of, what could potentially be the answer. You start collaborating with people, you start working on some research. Um, so that I think is overall very good, mentally stimulating, challenging background. But work you have to work wherever you are, India, USA, wherever. There is no shortcut in medicine. Uh, but these other things I think are fundamentally different in the way people practice medicine in America and India. And I think in India there is a lot of hierarchy, which doesn't really exist in the US. Everybody is mostly here on a first name basis. Uh, they don't go by I'm doctor this, doctor that. They're very casual about introducing and speaking to each other. India mein, there is a concept of sir, ma'am, this and that. Everybody wants self-importance. But these things don't exist here in the USA. Everybody is pretty approachable.
Thank you. I think this is good insights.
Uh, Karan, there is one more question. Like, Vidhi Mange wants to understand what is the fee structure in US, and also there is one more question from like, is there any racism problem you faced in like in fellowship times, and also like when you are pursuing MBBS in other countries like in Georgia and Nepal, are you facing any racism problem or any type of discrimination you are pursuing there?
So, what was the first question?
Fees structure
Oh
for
yeah,
USA.
I actually like I can so for medical school here, since I didn't do medical school training here, I will not quote the exact numbers. But in America, medical school fees is extremely high. The tuition fees. So a lot of people, my co-colleagues who did medical school training in the US, they have a huge student debt. They ये लोगों my so for example my co-fellows ये लोग को जो medical school जो and college जो debt cumulatively is around 400 500,000 dollars. They carry a lot of debt, meaning it is expensive. That's why they have so much debt. Uh, I would say the tuition fees are extremely high if you train in the USA for medical school. But masters, I think like residency fellowship, there's no tuition fee for that at all. And I think that's pretty much same rule in India too. You don't really have a tuition fee unless you go to a private institution. Um, I think tuition fees don't exist for a higher level of training overall. But even America, you don't have any tuition fees. You in fact get paid when you work here as a resident, and which I think is which I think is decent enough for you to survive, have a basic things that you need to live. But yeah, of course, America is a very expensive country, so you'd be surprised to see how difficult it is to afford most of the things. But yes, the programs जो को आज fellowship residency में salary उन्दी they match according to the geography, local condition. Of course, when you're in New York, they pay you a little more because they know things are more expensive. No, but if you are somewhere in rural Texas, they will pay you less. Things are cheaper. But I think overall they make sure that you can sustain, because again you're on J1 visa. As a J1 visa candidate, strictly you cannot work outside your institution. It will be breaching the clause of the visa. You can get deported. But yes, in J1 you cannot. Your source of income has to come through residency and nothing else. And the racism, I mean, racism, you don't really face racism like upfront. In 2026, nobody practices racism upfront. Uh, but I feel like you have to yeah, it's a very big term. I didn't face anything, but somebody may have. Um, but you have to also make sure that you don't offend somebody in a way that they may say something which may come across as a racism. But overall, I think American people are nice. Like I didn't really feel. I don't know if it's because the I work in a hospital, uh, but uh, but yeah, like of course, this is rather a good point. Like racism while selection, I feel like more than racism, there is I would say a good amount of, I think, selection bias, meaning, the countries like to support their candidates. Um, there is a lot of herd mentality in this process. So you'd be surprised to see, like, you will see there is a director who belongs to XYZ country. You'll see a lot of residents in their program from that country, and it's definitely not a coincidence. So that kind of thing does exist, but racism, nobody's going to be racist to you here, at least in medicine, I would say.
Uh, we have one more question from Hiyadama. Like it's from for Nepal. After completing MBBS in Nepal, can she do MD in Nepal and practice in India? Like after MBBS, MD also in Nepal, and for after completing her entire education, can she be back to India and practice in India?
Um, she can do it, but it is a complicated way because most common way is कि students here complete MBBS and then go back to India, give FMG, pass FMG, give NEET PG and do their MD and everything, and then they can be like, this is the common pathway. But while you are practicing in Nepal for MD, it will be complicated because already NMC, for NMC guidelines there is changes every year, like most of the year बहुत सारे changes होता है. I was in Ukraine earlier, then from my batch onwards it is said that ki I have to do internship of that particular country and then come back to India and then do internship of 1 or 2 years according to which country I have studied MBBS. So for Nepal, it is not like that. Nepal mein you have to do the internship in that country and then you can go back India and pass the FMG, and you don't have to do FMG over in India for Nepal as of now, NMC rules. So it is easiest way and common way ki you do the MBBS and then you go India, do MD, and you can be eligible everywhere. So yes, you can do it, but it is very complicated way. Huh?
Are there any more questions? If there are any more questions, please put forward. Bhumi Kataria, she has also again put one question. She is second year MBBS student uh, from our GMC. She want to know about university in Australia and AMC examination and admission process. Also the cost and work life culture over there.
Bhumi, I think
So,
we don't really have anybody who's practicing in Australia, but from what I've heard, I have a few colleagues here and there who are in Australia, but I think they find the work-life balance there pretty good. Um, the exam process, from at least the last thing I heard, is not that challenging, but things are changing everywhere. Um, but there's something you can consider. Unfortunately, there is no person who's in Australia on the current meeting, so we have to try to find you the right person to answer that question.
yes, Bhumi, we'll reach out to you. Just put in, reach out to the team members. Contact form ਅਸੀਂ इनको ਦਿੱਤਾ ਸੀ, feedback form. उनमें खाली give us your information. We'll reach out to someone in Australia. We have a big Bhanushali community there as well, and we'll try to help you with that answer as well. Yeah, we'll try to connect you with someone. Yeah.
Guys, any more questions you want to ask?
Okay.
if there are no more questions, so let's we move further. So I would like to thank all our speakers, Karan Bhanushali, Vididama, and Khushbu Gajra, for taking your insightful time. You guys all are in the different time zones, and you are trying to make time from your busy schedules and joining the webinar and sharing your deep full insights about your own specific countries. मूंखे એટલો શ્યોર ખબર કે સ્ટુડન્ટ્સ જો કોઈ હેર જોઈન થયા એની કે બહુ સારો ગાઈડન્સ મળ્યો मेडिसिन लाइ करे अने घणी क्लैरिटी उनखे मिली हूंदी जो कोई पंहिंजे करियर लाइ करे जो को मेडिसिन करे ई लोको पंहिंजो ड्रीम बनाए अब्रॉड लाइ करे हिनखे बहुत सारो नॉलेज मिलो हूंदो नहीं मणे हर सारा कॉन्फिडेंट हूंदा सो लेट्स मूव फर्दर एंड लेट्स कॉल आवर बॉस लीड गौरंग भाई गौरंग भाई ओवर टू यू
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, first of all, again, thank you to Karan, Vidhi, Kushbu. Uh, Thank you for sharing your thoughts, your insights, your tips. એટલી પાંજે टीम के પાંજી जो भानुशाली स्टूडेंट्स हैं उन्हीं के बहुत बेनिफिट थी है interacting with you guys directly, interacting with you directly, getting this information like real information. Like Khushbu said, you can go to a consultant who anke ekro number chonda just to get your business 30-35 lakhs to go to Georgia, right? But what it actually ends up later is double the cost, right? uh, who anke तेर नहीं चाहिए वहां के बिजनेस गिनला करे तेरे गिनी गिंदा, right? And then how these are different countries, whether it's Nepal, Georgia, there are people that for MBBS go to many different countries. It's not an easy life. You anke oda 7-8 વરે રોણું કપદો, right? Sometimes 5, 6, 7 depends on the country. Long કેટલો આય, it's a small country. ઓડા આમટે બે friends હુએ ન હુએ, right? Indian store હુએ ન હુએ. So all of that isolation, uh, anything that is regarding going abroad, right? In boss we see not just પાના નતા એનું ખાલી કે medicine la પણ અહીં તા IT la veneta, physiotherapist, design, all different fields people go abroad, whether it's Canada, US. Some of these things are same, right? Isolation, going abroad, staying away from family, staying away from our culture, who અહીં king કને કહીંદા, and that can cause mental health issues. Correct? Depression थी अगर ठंडी वाली जगह है, lot of things. So medicine we focused on just the core medicine concepts, but I think going abroad for studying, you have to be realistic. It is going to take time. It is going to, you have to have strong willpower. કે એવડા વિન્ડો હું ભણદ્યું અને મને કરે જો હોય, because you're spending so much time, money, effort. You don't want to come back halfway. It is hard, right? So before you make a decision, be absolutely sure, right? So thanks, Kushbu Vidhi, for giving that insight. And that is common across all, whether you do MBBS or other fields. And second cheese, like Karan mentioned, you cannot think, okay, मुझे 4 वरे पति विंदा, हने हूँ decide करेंगे मुझे next को रहा है. No, I think MBBS, as he said, step 1, step 2, you have to plan. So if that is your goal, abroad winnu, US winnu खास कहीं ने, after MBBS, going during MBBS, as he said, 400, 500,000. I also know my colleagues' children, they do that. Uh, Expensive. 400, 500,000 is 100,000 is 1 crore, right? Right now at today's date. So it's 5 crores to just get your MBBS, right? So you have to be practical. If you want to do that, great. But if that is not your option, you have other options, India and other countries like Vidhi and Kushbu mentioned, right? But अगर आके पोए करनो है post graduate after MBBS, as Karan said, plan early. केड़ा विन्नु है, कई field में विन्नु है. You cannot plan after your 4th year of MBBS. You will have to start planning your 2nd, 3rd year of MBBS, right, Karan? To start planning this, thinking ahead. Um,
Yes, yes.
and just
I think
exam will not work. Yeah,
100%. And
yeah,
again, back when I was preparing, just to, not to make anybody feel like they may be late, I decided to do this very late in my journey. But once you plan, then you have to, once you decide, then you have to have a good timeline. Okay, how are you going to work around this? Some people may decide to do this while they are in MBBS. Some people may decide to do this once they finish MBBS. Of course, the year of graduation makes a difference when you apply. But once you decide if you want to do this, then you have to have a very good timeline and a plan. How are you going to execute this? Say that is more important. I personally decided to do this, I think, very late in my MBBS, and I was not a very studious person. MBBS je time the. And I think I realized maybe towards the later half, this is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to do it, and a poi plan kyo. But it's always good to know and plan beforehand. How I want to approach this. Well, lucky, you cannot just like, oh, I'm going to apply. That's it. I think I made it like a little more clear. कि कितना मरे steps हैं. There are so many hurdles. There are so many things that can go wrong. There are so many things that may not work for you to get in residency. Remember, at the end of the day, residency was never made for immigrant doctors like us. It was made for, like you mentioned, your friends' kids. They will definitely get in residency no matter what, because the system is designed in such a way that American graduates first. They pay so much money, they work extremely hard to get into medical schools, cutthroat competition, and they are the ones who will definitely get into residency. You are coming here, of course we don't take their spots away, but we try to fill in the gaps system mein. And the competition is your world. એટલે यहाँ जो competition, not just bunch of students applying from India, there will be some very strong contenders from Pakistan, Nepal, Middle East, Africa, South America, Canada, everywhere from the world you can think of. Many जगह थी they are trying to get that spot. So I think having a good plan is, and contingency is very important. Don't be fooled by thinking these exams are just going to be enough for me to get in. And I'm really grateful you guys conducted this, and somebody like who is in my shoes right now, I wish I had somebody who was in that journey at that phase of life. जो मुझे clearly inside देने में, I was also naive when I was preparing. कि मुझे ना खबर है कि you have to do many things. I thought, oh, I'll do good on exams and things will work out, but it's never the case. But I think you guys have done a fantastic job to organize this. I'm sure it's a Saturday. Everybody wants to enjoy, relax, but you still made the time to do this, conduct this, and all the other organizers. I think you guys really have done a
Yeah.
fantastic job.
No, absolutely. Thanks, Karan. So yeah, again, just to reiterate, holistic picture nahi ja. As Dr. हरेश चंद्र चयो, क्रॉस वेरीफाई, डोंट गो मूंखे हेॾा मूंखे अच्छा ई सस्ते में थी वेंदो या ही थी वेंदो हेॾा कंट्री में हले विना या हले विना. नो, ask questions, reach out to भानुशाली community कि भाई केर वियो आहे होॾा मूंखे चयो, I want to talk to them like frankly. Don't hesitate. You're putting years of your life, you're putting effort. Don't hesitate to reach out. We are here to help you, right? As Dr. Harishchandra said, by kapenta, ana doctors kapenta, not just in India, across the world, who practice and give back. Give back not necessarily anyways, just even guiding other Bhanushalis and give back Karija, like Khushbu, Vidhi, and Karan are doing, right? Reach out to them. We will share their contact. Reach out to them if you have questions. They are available to help you guys, guide you guys. um, After that, I just want to, before I let just one minute, Khushbu, Vidhi, Karan, I'll let you speak once more, but I want to thank the volunteer team first. He hekro kro seminar assign karla. It takes us thought preparation for almost 1.5 2 months. Our goal is to market it as much as possible so that as many people as જેટલા થઈએ मिड़ेक पंहिंजा कम्युनिटी जा ग्रुप्स आई व्हाट्सएप इंस्टाग्राम मणी जगह आई उन्हीं के रीच आउट करियूं उन्हीं ते रजिस्ट्रेशन करायूं अज देवर अराउंड 60 65 people, parents या students who had registered. We would ਅਸੀਂ wish कयो कि अगर डबल थिए જેટલે વધુ જણે કે થઈએ benefit enjo. But thank you to the volunteer team, everyone. અગર કોઈ કંઈક મિસ કર્યા તો રાધાબેન, ખુશી, કશ્યપ, युवराज, कृणाल, विकी, अगर હું આના કેમ કે મિસ કર્યું અહીંયા આના બહુ વડી ટીમ આય રાધાબેન after this if you want to just mention we not just ask them to send WhatsApp messages but we actually call on the phone to all the participants કે અહીં લોકો અચી જા હાલા કરે ઓર્ગેનાઇઝ કયો હોય અહીં લોકો અચી જા તો હું 50-60 જણે કે મિણી કે ફોન વિને રાઈટ તો હું પણ વોલેન્ટિયર ટીમ હે so thank you to everyone for that. Before closing, I just want to give it once more to Vidhi. Khushbu, if you want to say anything last, we'll appreciate that.
So I am really glad કે અહીં કંઈ મને opportunity દેના insights share કરેલા કરે અને as Dr. Karan mentioned it is like a good thing that you guys are doing because when I was like choosing this path there મોટે કોઈ નો કે guide કરલા કરે ही चीज करला करे at that time we didn't have this seminars this webinars and there was a lot of gap communication gap between मतलब समाज में पण हो students में भी हो there was no support system but this is a very good thing which you guys have been doing and I really appreciate it and I am very glad that I like I have been part of this so thank you so much for giving me this opportunity and all the best to all the students and if you have any doubts please be free don't get scared and like ask any questions you have to the team or to us and thank you.
For me, this is the like second time that boss has helped me. First, it was when I was escaping from Ukraine from war, and that's where I got to know about boss and everything. And from then, I'm connected, and I really feel glad that I can help out the students who are like, this is very hectic job to do, like for which country to go, which country not to go, which country to choose. So I had no one back then, but I'm glad that I can help you all. And if you have any doubts, you can contact me and I'll try my best to help you all because I have knowledge of both I have like experience of both European MBBS as well and Asian MBBS as well. So you can connect me.
Yeah, thank you. Again, Karan.
Yes, again, Gaurang Bhai and volunteers, thank you for putting in the effort. Aloko Jevagar, he definitely would not, and making the effort of calling people and asking them to join speaks volume about you guys, how dedicated you guys are to this job. And I'm really thankful I conduct here. And I just want to say one last thing before we finish the meeting. Okay, while you're selecting your residency, um, just keep one thing in mind. Don't go to places which are very, America mein mede hospital, they are not similar. There are places where residents have, committed suicides because of the amount of work pressure. There are some famous hospitals. Just to get into residency, don't pick the wrong place. There is nothing more important than your personal and mental health. Do not compromise on that no matter what. America, medical training is not standardized. There are good places, bad places, malignant places. You have to be very careful when you pick. So make sure you pick the right places, right choice, and I think it may feel there are so many things how I'm going to make it, but you have to take one step at a time. When I started preparing, I started off with just one book, KO, USMLE, this and that. But you build on things, building blocks, and eventually by the time you apply, you get in residency, fellowship. Muji wife aane, she's going to start fellowship next year. So you have to take one step at a time. Try to enjoy life too, and but yeah, don't go to the wrong places. Long story short, just be careful.
Good inputs. Good. I think this is good. ગાઈ ના કરી જા આ એક ક્વેશ્ચન હોય તો પૂછજા મણી કે હીડી કોલેજ સારી है એરિયા રાઈટ mental health and physical mental health is more important અગર હેર ન વ્યા ને કોઈ બે વરે વ્યા या whatever right don't make hasty decisions
Yes,
yeah
very
that's it
important.
don't make
Very
hasty decisions કે મુકે વેન્નુ જાય अब्रॉड विनू हुआ है या इनमें विनू हुआ है या ही कॉलेज में, ask 10 times, right? Nothing is, Karan said, nothing is more important than your physical, mental, emotional health. Okay, thank you. And just finally, I don't know, Vasant Bhai is very active in our Jamnagar area. He has a lot of students reaching out and he guides them with MBBS. Vasant Bhai, do you want to take a minute to say something? Or Dr. Harshad Bhai is here as well. Dr. Harish Chandra. Vasant Bhai, yahin hai ho, एक second. Is he here or is he left? Just 1 second. I think, yeah, Vasant bhai, can you unmute for a second, 1 second, and just mention how useful he has actually brought in a lot of students to the seminar. He has promoted this a lot. Vasant bhai, यहीं है कि ये खाली second just unmute कहीं ना इनके. Okay, no problem. I think he's left. Dr. Harish Chandra, you want to say last thing, then we can close.
हरिओम। लास्ट 2 to 3 years में पंहिंजा जेको एफर्ट्स है इन जो आउटकम ही है। वसंत भाई करे तव्हां सां कनेक्ट न थी सघिया, वसंत भाई भद्रा जामनगर। बट द थिंग इज दैट के लास्ट 2 या 3 years जो रिकॉर्ड अहिड़ो चए थो कि पंहिंजा मोस्ट ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स जेको रिमोट एरिया में थी आया आहिनि। पाण सम्झंदा हुआ कि बॉम्बे हाई प्लेस है, बट लास्ट 3 years में वापी, वलसाड અને ગુજરાતના નંढा નંढा ગામડા એટલે સુરત જે આજુબાજુ जा साउथ गुजरात, जामनगर, राजकोट, भुज, इवन कच्छ में गांधीधाम અને ઓડાથી બી ઘણે ઘણે મેડિકલ સ્ટુડન્ટ લાસ્ટ યર 40 સ્ટુડન્ટ્સ યુજી में એડમિશન ગળવાનો અને લગભગ 15 પીજી में ગળવાનો લાસ્ટ ટુ લાસ્ટ યર। અને લાસ્ટ યર બી લગભગ 30 જેટલા સ્ટુડન્ટ્સ યુજી में એડમિશન ગળવાનો અને મોસ્ટ ઓફ એજમેથી આઉટ ઓફ બોમ્બે જાય। એટલે જેको पाजी अवेयरनेस जो की हलायूं था, कैंप हलायूं था, के बि वेबिनार करियूं था, त इन जो ही सीधो सीधो रिजल्ट है। इन्हीं लोगों जी मेहनत जो ही परिणाम है कि दरेक गामड़े गामड़े सुधी पाण रीच आउट करियूं था અને जेके अवेयरनेस मिले थी, प्रॉपर गाइडेंस मिले तो पाछा सारा अहिड़ा स्टूडेंट मेडिकल कॉलेज में एडमिशन गिनी सघे था। अॼु जी तारीख़ में पाण ऑलरेडी 500+ टोटल मेडिकोस आहियूं, including dentists and physios. So overall very well going। અને જેको पंहिंजी टीम कार्य करे रही है कि हजी पाण मजबूती थी करिबो त पंहिंजो हजी बि एक्सपांशन सारो थींदो। हरिओम।
And just lastly, again, this is final last. Chat में विधो અહીંયા हिकिड़ो form for the participants. Please give us your feedback कि ई session तव्हांखे कहिड़ो लॻो, असीं को improve करी सघूं था। This will help us to plan our next session. We are going to do our next session in July, which is our annual event. It will be full day long. उनजो असीं एजेंडा नेहर करी रहिया आहियूं, but there you will be able to speak directly to the special subject matter expert for countries, for subjects like MBBS, etc. in Bhanushali Wadi. So we are right now in the planning phase, but that will happen around July. We will reach out to everyone who has participated here also. ताकि अगर अचनू है, we are going to do that in July. Yeah. Thank you again.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Thanks, volunteers. Thanks, Karan, Kushbu, Vidhi, and thanks to
Thank
all
you so
the
much.
boss volunteer team. Yeah.
Thanks to everyone.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful
Thank you.
evening.
Bye.
Bye. हरिओम।
Hari Om.